See, StreamYard is getting on my nerves. Automatically muted me as the show began for no reason. Happy Saturday, guys. Today or tonight is Saturday, November 19th. Thanksgiving is only days away. My favorite time of the year. I am William. This is the Sci Fi Center live overnight edition. I'm here to shepherd you in from November 19th and to November 20th and to yet another NFL Sunday. And hopefully, I don't get blasted in my family league tomorrow because guys dropping passes have been causing me pain lately. So let me go ahead and say hi to the chat real quick before I jump into some of our loose topics here. We're going to be talking a little bit of wrestling coming right off the top here. I'll bring up. I just finished watching AEW Full Gear, and I see RJ just popped in the back, so we'll go ahead and get the wrestling out of the way, and then we'll start our other conversation. I'll go ahead and bring Fade in. Hal Jordan, hey William, hope you had a great day. Looking forward to Gunn and Saffron revealing the Bible. I have a feeling that they will concentrate on the main DC personalities, and will intro obscure characters. I think so too. And like I said, you see, James Gunn is in my my thumbnail for but good reason. He's given me something that I have been waiting for nearly a decade for when it comes to DC and how they disseminate their news and how they let people know. The previous management group left a lot to be desired, and like I always say, when the horse's mouth is not speaking, other people speak for the horse, and usually it's bullshit. And that's not just scoopers, that's trades and high level pundits and people who are not the people we should be listening to. And I'm not always going to like what James Gunn says, but if it's coming from him, he cuts out a lot of these guys. I mean, we got people. It used to be that when stuff came out in the trade magazines, you could take it, for gospel. The 50% of the stuff that we've had come out from the trades, for the most part, is either bullshit, or it is subjective bullshit, or it's bullshit half truths coming from people who have an axe to bury. And you know who those people are. I don't need to bring their names up there. So when you get to that level where the high level people, the raps, the varieties, the Hollywood reporters can't even get stuff, can't even give you a straight line, it is crucial that somebody step in. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the DC studio head, but it needs to be somebody who's getting the information. We don't always hear from the president, but when we hear from the president's press secretary, you're literally hearing it from him or her or somebody from the executive branch. And that's what DC has needed for a very long time. They could have saved themselves a lot of pain and a lot of money just by having somebody there. And it appears we have somebody like there right now. He is engaged. He put out some vague tweets, and I personally think that he's talking to everyone, not just people at the YouTube level, the Twitter level. He's talking about the people who, once they put it, people run with it and they run home with it. So I think he was talking to those people as well. I am going to go ahead and bring in RJ real quick because I want to get the wrestling out of the way while it's still fresh in our head.
Hello, what's up?
Did you watch All Gear? Full Gear?
I did. Yeah, I did.
All right, man. Listen, I loved the pay-per-view. There were some matches on there I could have done without. I think they're wasting Jade Cargill. I think her angle. I think
to be honest, I'm ready for a new TBS champion. I think she's run her course. To be honest, I'm ready for something new.
And a lot of it, I don't think is even her fault. I think it's how they book her because she doesn't book herself. Her undefeated thing, it's the Goldberg effect. And I think it is really, really, really hurting. And tonight it showed. There's no way she should have walked out of there with that title. And I could say that about 4 or 5.
I don't know if Nyla Rose would have been a good choice either, though, to be honest. I don't know.
Transitional champion, they needed to get it off of her tonight. They really needed to get it off of her tonight. And where the fuck is Thunder Rosa?
She's still injured, apparently. But I don't buy that because I don't think they want to use her.
Okay, they don't want to use her. I mean, you got.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know.
she's on YouTube, and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and she's
chill. I think she's literally just sitting there. I don't think she's well liked by Tony Khan and the women in power over there because of backstage politics.
Okay, then you got to do something though. You can't have it.
Well, Tony Khan was mentioning, well, maybe we'll just strip her of the belt completely. I'm like, well, if you don't want to bring her back, then just do that. Like, why are you saying maybe we'll do that?
Should her get off the pot, man? Because I'm like, where's Thunder? It dawned on me while I'm watching that match. I'm like, wait a minute. That's right. We've had an interim champion for like most of her reign. And I like Thunder Rosa, but damn, I think that hurts the card. All right, let me go down these matches. Chaos, Orange Cassidy. I kind of like that was a 10-man tag. I'm skipping that one because
it was fun. They introduced like an evil, like a more serious version of Danhausen, which was cool. So
and a talking Orange Cassidy more so than he's talked more in the last week than he has like the first year in the business. So I'm gonna have Ricky Stark to beat Brian Cage. That match was all right. Eddie Kingston, I went off the rocker after he defeated John Alcama. I'm going to fuck up that name, but he gave thanks to like the entire wrestling industry. I thought he was on the tipsy. All right, so here's where the matches got really good. Jungle Boy and Jack Perry defeated Luchasaurus. I actually enjoyed this match. I thought
it was great too.
I thought Luchasaurus, as big as he is, did an awesome job in selling all of Jack's high moves or high points, and I was really happy with that match. All right, so then we start getting into what I paid to see, and this is Death Triangle versus the Elite.
Oh yeah. The very self-congratulatory welcome back opening.
Yeah, but you know what? If anybody who wants to say that they're booking themselves, then that wasn't what I was.
What did you think of the crowd chanting FCM Punk for super loud at the opening of the match?
Dude, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm sitting backstage, I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, I'm not letting CM Punk go. That heat means money. I don't care what anybody says. You're in business to draw a spectacle. Pro wrestling is a spectacle.
But I agree, but the egos, man. I think it's just the egos.
You know what? But that's pro wrestling. You only get so many opportunities to strike while the iron is hot. And to me, I go ahead and use him. I mean, yeah, he's got ego, but you know what? He's under contract. And why leave him available for anybody else? Why let some other wrestling company, even if it's a slim chance, you don't want to give anybody the chance to tell your story. And that heat that he was getting wasn't even in the building, and you could hear it. It was very audible. And I tell him, hey, you know what, guys, you all work for me. I pay all your paychecks. Right now, if I was waiting after the main event, which we'll get to, I was waiting to hear Cult of Personality when MJF was going up this end. I would have lost my shit if that had happened.
Yeah, I know. It would have been.
And if you came out with the belt because he never lost, like he did back when he was, I would have just gone. And all those people that were chanting that, they're marks just like me. They would have gone crazy too. So, the Death Triangle Elite match was great.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Because we just got to confirm they're going to do a best of 7 series. How do you feel about that?
That's a mistake.
I feel like that's a little bit too much.
That's a mistake. All right. I understand that every time these gentlemen get in the ring with each other, they give you a main event match. That was a main event level match.
Were you surprised that the Death Triangle won? I was.
I was sort of surprised, but not as surprised because I think that, they were going to try to swerve your expectations, and everybody and their mother, as soon as they knew the Elite was coming back, was like, oh, they're going to book the title back on themselves because they never really lost him. So I thought that was unexpected. And I knew, okay, what are you going to give me on? As soon as the match was over, I'm like, there's a rematch happening. There's no way but then I saw a best of 7. I'm like, okay, well, the good news is we're 2 matches into it. The bad news is as great as these matches are, I don't want to kill the damn cow, to get too much milk out of them. Mm-hmm. So that's a problem. I
will say, overall, just real quick, I was going to say, I feel like this was considering that the build to the pay-per-view I thought was so lackluster, I was surprised that it was as good as it was. Like this was a good reset pay-per-view too.
And it was a good crowd too. It was a very good crowd. All right, Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan.
This was the bathroom break match to me, and I'm sorry to say that. But
It really was. She came out looking like Thundercat. Nyla Rose, I always have an issue with, and it had nothing to do with her being a transgender wrestler. It has more to do that she's not very good and she hurts people. She misses spots. She overdoes spots, and when you're that size and you're wrestling, unless you're wrestling Toni Storm or Jamie Hayter or some of the bigger lengthier wrestlers, you really hurt people. She hurts people. So I've never been, she doesn't sell. So I was like, okay, I wouldn't have been too happy with her winning the belt, but at the same time, I think it's hurting Jade Cargill's
I think it's time for a new TBS champion.
Yeah, because she's been the inaugural one, and nobody.
It's just a bit of very it was like the reign was fine at the start, but now it's starting to get really boring. Like you could do something much better with that title if she doesn't have it. So
yeah, and
I'm not sure who beats her, who beats that undefeated streak. I don't know yet, but somebody has to.
Statlander or somebody.
Well, the problem is that Chris Statlander's injured. She was supposed to be the one, but she's injured. The problem is the women's division's full of injuries right now. So.
Yeah. All right. Chris Jericho, champion, defeated Bryan Danielson, Claudio.
Fun match.
That match was good. That was another main event level match. I liked the way it ended. Chris Jericho's first half of his career, I didn't have much regard for, but his stuff from 2017 up till now, I think has been some of the best stuff he's done.
Yeah. I will say though, this is my thought overall when it comes to the Ring of Honor stuff personally. I really hope they get a TV deal for Ring of Honor soon, though, because I watch AEW for the AEW stuff, not Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has its place, but if they have their own pay-per-views and their own show, keep it to that.
Yeah, and it needs to go back to being weird Ring of Honor style. I understand who owns them, but he needs to understand that Ring of Honor had an appeal to it, that AEW has its own appeal. They need to be separated. It needs to look and feel like Ring of Honor when it comes in. So I'm hoping he's. I know they're working on something, and I know they're working on something with WBD, because WBD, one of the things they are thrilled about, all the things that they do cut, they love AEW because it's one of their highest ad buy draws. I know because I tried to buy some ads during even just Rampage, and I'm like, I look like a poor man. I pulled out my little wallet and saw what they wanted. And I'm like, I put my little wallet right back in my pocket. Mm-hmm. Okay. Saraya, I'm sorry. This was a bathroom break for me. Saraya and Dr. Britt Baker.
For a comeback match from someone who hasn't wrestled in like 5 years, it was as good as you could probably get. I think she's going to get better when she's more comfortable, but this was a pretty safe little match.
And you know why it was as good? Because Dr. Britt Baker really carried that match for what I could see. Which is fine. I mean,
it was fine. It was fine.
Okay, this next match, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs.
It was okay. This one was another okay one.
It was an okay one, but it was sort of a mess towards the end.
The thing is, man, like Wardlow, ever since he won the belt, they booked him so bad. Like him and FTR were booked horribly for the past few months. Both of them, or all three of them were. Hopefully, Samoa Joe being a double champion now, they'll book him better with his TNT championship run, because Wardlow they did absolutely nothing with, which was a shame.
Okay, worst match of the night: Sting, Darby Allin, Jeff Jarrett.
Really, this was the worst one of you?
Worst match of the night.
No, I thought this was it was entertaining. To be honest, I thought it was a pretty entertaining one. To be honest,
I hated everything about
worst match of the night to me is probably Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose. Honestly.
So it's a tie then, because I thought this match was a waste of all of these guys involved.
This should have been on Dynamite, not the pay-per-view. That I will agree with.
This should have been one of those opening matches. You know how you have the dark matches, like with Kingston? They should have been up there with Kingston on the card. And I'm like,
so this should have been during 0 hour, not the card. I can understand that.
I was dealing with customers while that one was on there.
Well, that's what I was going to say, though. Like, to me, this pay-per-view was a bit too long. This is one of the matches I would have cut.
Yeah, it's a 13-match pay-per-view, which is too many. It's like the 3 too many. But Jamie Hayter defeated Tony. I actually like this match. I kind of figured they were going to book it that way because now her and Britt Baker can go at it.
But
This was
again, how
where
does Thunder Rosa fit into this? Because she has to come back and challenge for her title that she never lost, right? You would hope so.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that.
This is if she's healthy, I would have had her here doing the same thing I would have had CM Punk doing, coming out with that title. But she's legit champion. She hasn't been stripped yet, so she's a title holder. I would have had her coming out and doing a face off or something. Even if she's not ready yet, we have
At
time.
least for my audience, yeah.
Hey, by the way, you have a champion. Remember her?
Mm.
All right. This match was good. The Acclaimed. Up until that stupid ass ending.
You like the ending?
Well, I never like gimmick endings like that where one guy leaves them. I mean,
that's been the story though for the past few weeks, though.
It has that, but just kind of made it predictable for me. But why they were 2-on-2, I thought the match was great. I'm really liking the Acclaim more and more. I think they're setting them up to lose to FDR when it's all said and done. But I like them up to this point. The crowd behind them. People, that is a great gimmick. The scissor me thing I thought was stupid at first, but they've turned it into something special. So, and that's really hard to do in wrestling. People don't realize how hard it is to make a gimmick good, and they've done it. And then this match was, like I said, the finale, MJF defeating Jon Moxley. Obviously, there was a swerve at the end. It was kind of
I saw that coming. To be honest, I figured Regal's got to turn on Mox. It's just the setup was there,
Yeah, well, I thought they were going to turn on each other a long time ago, but they kind of used this gimmick before when they had when Kenny Omega defeated Jon Moxley.
If you notice, there's a theme throughout the show. If you think about it, right? There's 3 matches where is this guy going to cheat to win? Right? Yeah. Is the babyface going to cheat to win? Because that happened with Rey Fenix with the hammer. It happened with
then he used it. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I'll say Rey Fenix used the hammer. Keith Lee rejected the pincher thing, and MJF used the brass knuckles. Yeah. So kind of like a theme overall. The show.
He already had a ring. He had his diamond ring that he was going to hit him with, and yeah, I thought it was a fun pay-per-view. Like I said, 3 matches too long. There's 3 matches that I could have just taken off the card and just compacted the show, but as it was, like I said, when I'm watching it here, I could do other things.
How do you think MJF's championship reign's going to go? Do you think he's going to be babyface or heel? Because I don't think they know yet. Because the crowd loves MJF, even though he's on the edge.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, though. If I'm telling you, if they want to make him an anti-hero in that respect, you got to bring CM Punk back. Because I'm okay with people hating CM Punk. CM Punk is okay with people hating CM Punk. And I that would be, dude, you got to make your money when you can. And right now, he's out there. I mean, I know he's injured right now anyway, but I don't know what the length of that injury is going to be, But at the same time, I mean, you got to get him in the ring with CM Punk. He's under your contract. You have a champion now, a 26-year-old guy who's great, who I hope they've signed for the bulk of his career. And you got a guy that you're paying a lot of money that's still selling merchandise for you. You look at his merchandise, though. People still buy from AEW shop. They still buy CM Punk stuff.
When you hear Cult of Toys at Walmart too.
Yeah. So when you hear Cult of Personality, you hear what happens. So I know what's happened. I know it happened backstage, but I'm sorry. Those hurt feelings don't pay bills, In that matchup, I would drop some more money for that matchup. But overall, I thought it was a solid pay-per-view, too long, and some questionable finishes. And they slipped into the old trick of using their big money pay-per-views to set up their TV shows, but I'm okay with that. I don't hate that as much as I did before. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Thade real quick because I know he's been backstage. I don't think Thade's a wrestling fan, so I didn't want to torture you with the pro wrestling stuff. So I spared you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Is he there? You there? He's muted, but do me a favor, RJ. Can you bring up that tweet? Sorry
about that. I'm back.
No problem. Just the raw tweet from what James Gunn said today.
Do you want me to share the link to it, or do you want me to just pull up my screen?
Or send it to me. I don't think you can pull up your screen on mine, but I just want to, because to me this is a very important thing. I had it on here, but I had so many screens on there, I lost it, and I'm not good at Twitter. We're going to talk about Twitter too, because I didn't think I would get as tired of Twitter as I did today. Everybody's talking about it in ways that I'm like, dude, come on.
People are being stupidly hyperbolic about everything right now with Twitter.
Yeah. Do you want the one where he replied to me and Yara, or the one from before that?
The one where he says, unless it comes from me, the original one, unless it comes from me.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll find that one in a second. I'm looking.
Is that the one you just sent? Hold on, let me take a look. Because I'm so happy that this is okay. This one's good. This one's good. All right, I'm going to share this one. If you find another one, you can add it to, but I'm going to start with this one. But before we go into James Gunn, the Director of Information, the POA or PAO, this is my feelings about when it comes to Twitter. Out of all the formats that I use, and this is coming from a business perspective, I have Twitter, but it's because I use it in conjunction with Instagram, and it lets you post there simultaneously. I don't use it very much. I find it disorganized and I find it confusing. I'm only on it. I only engage because a lot of the people we know in our mutual circles use it, and they use the messenger to send each other information, which is all right. But as far as like, I'm a disciplined type of guy, and I'm all for free speech and everything, but it's like being in a knife fight in a dark back alley.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. We all have knives, but at the same time, do I want to put myself in that situation? I'd rather be in a situation where there's not a bunch of crazy people with the knives. And I think that Twitter is just a free for all. And listen, when you invite and allow everyone and everything, you get everyone and everything. That was always a problem I had. Now, when it comes to Elon Musk, I understand when businesses or purchases and mergers happen. We've been talking about this for a year with Warner Brothers Discovery, that people get laid off, jobs are lost. That's not the problem I have with him. I have a problem with the decorum and the way he has handled it. If this has to be done, so be it. It has to be done, but be a professional. There's nothing professional about his the way he's carried himself and during this whole process. And you have people that work for you. Granted, you're going to lay off so many people. That's do what you got to do. But your behavior and how it's handled is with the borderline between an asshole and somebody who's doing what they have to do. That's my problem with it. It's like, and it's tragic because you know what? Even though he may not have directly invented a lot of the stuff, or he may have just taken over it, you can have that argument. He has been attached and associated to a lot of inventions and things that make people's lives better. SpaceX is cool. I know a lot of people who have Tesla. His name was, it was attached to, for the most part, on the surface level, positive things. I fear now that his legacy and his name is going to be attached to something he didn't even want to buy, and that he's turned into chaos. Because, like I said, once something becomes unreliable, even if a whole bunch of other people jump in and say, "Oh, I love Twitter now because it's the old West like it was," it's a talent drain, it's a brain drain. All the people who used it for high level stuff, they're going to go to other things, and you're going to be left with those people with the knives in the dark alley. So,
yeah,
I think that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I do have to step out.
Go ahead, because you were going to start.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just real quick, I have to step out because I have another streaming commitment, but I just want to say thank you for bringing me on. I want to say about the Twitter thing just real quick. I have no clue what Elon Musk is doing, but, like, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah. I don't know anymore. That's an understatement. It's kind of like it's potentially burning money, but hey, if he bought it, he can do what he wants with it, I guess. So I'll catch you later.
He didn't even want to buy it. All right, go ahead, Thade, because you were going to chime in on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like the Wild West now. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it is insane what's been going on. But let me
which is fine with me.
I'm going to in my chat while you're.
Yeah, the whole Wild West aspect of Twitter right now is fine with me. I can roll with the punches, but like watching people break down over it makes me laugh.
It could be considered funny, but here's the only problem with it that I have is watching those people breaking down. those are the people. That's your customer. That's your audience. Those are the people that when the ad buy guys come in, they look at who you have as your demographic. And if it's not there or it's leaving or they're in distress, that's what drives down social media ad revenue. And right now, social media ad revenue across the board is having struggles because everybody's having money issues. But you don't help when you do things to antagonize that group. So it's cool to, and I understand it's cool to laugh at people. Oh, they're thinking it's the end of the world. But if I'm a guy who wants to buy ad space or buy ad revenue on one of these things, other people may laugh at those guys and do the teary laughing emoji, but I'm looking at my customer being pushed away. And if I see that, there's no reason for me to buy ad. And that's where Twitter got its revenue from. Twitter has no other relevant means to draw revenue. That's why when he took it private, that really shot himself in two foot, because now you don't have purchase revenue. Like, when it goes down in stock, people will be like, okay, I'll buy it and we'll boost it up. There's ways to boost up the value, but it's a private company now. So now it's a private company and you're losing ad revenue because, like I said, even if he has the same amount of followers or same amount of people that are using it, if the type of user that was using Twitter before is leaving and being replaced by another type, the ad guys are going to be like, this demo ain't buying anything. So he's got to be really careful with that. And when we went, it's just a mess.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not. It's crazy, but I'm also not going to run away from Twitter just because some things are going on there that I hate. I don't see the point in everybody jumping ship. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do, because here's why. What do you want to be associated with? If you're using it for business and you're using it to make the type of connection that you need, like I said, it's the difference between swimming in a pool that is clean and chlorinated and everything else, and then jumping in one that somebody has been shitting in all day. Eventually, it's like you are as good as what you associated with sometimes when you're trying to build networks and everything else. And you can't do this with this type of chaos. It was hard before because Twitter was always been sort of an unstable wild card, but it's aggravated wild card now. It's instability is basically caused by something. And when you're trying to build networks, it may be in your best interest to go somewhere else. I'm having a decision-making process because, like I said, it's luckily for me, Twitter, out of all the formats I use, Twitter is the least effective, so I don't do as much on it. I mean, I post on there all the time, but like I said, via the app that I use to post on Facebook, Instagram. Hell, I've had more success with TikTok than I had with Twitter. But I understand that people use it as their open forum. But like I said, at some point, there's too many turds in the water, and your forum starts to smell. So I can completely understand why people would make a
well,
I'm real close to it.
He made a decision today that's going to cause a lot of his advertisers to pull out because his advertisers warned him. His advertisers warned him. They said, "You bring that guy back, we're going to jump ship."
We're not going to mention his name, but I think you guys all know who we mean. Yeah, then that, like I said, that's like, dude.
Hey, somebody really close to me calls him Orange Twitler. Okay, we'll just put it that way.
Yeah. We may have some supporters in the chat, and that's okay. But on a business level, that particular person is not good for ad revenue. And when 100% of your revenue is ad revenue, you might want to do things. And that's like I said, the uproar over Twitter is not something to be ignored. And I understand what you're saying, Thade, but I see people on there because I come in there and I like to give you the link and I see on my timeline. I had to mute Elon Musk just so that I could read the fuck what was going on. I literally legit had to mute because everybody was either he was saying stuff and people thought Twitter, I guess, thought he was relevant to me. Elon Musk is not relevant to me in any way, shape, or form as far as directly to Twitter. The
only thing that I care about Elon at all is what he's doing with SpaceX to get us the hell off this planet. I mean, other than that.
And by the way, guys, he may be the richest man in the world. Trust me, money still means something to that guy.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying. People talking about he spent 44 billion for Twitter and he's destroying it. Dude, he didn't put all that money out on Twitter just to destroy it. I don't quite get what he's doing right now, but it
I don't
isn't.
think he does. I don't think he knows what the hell he's doing. I think it would be like if I'm on an airplane and I just happen to peek into the captain's cabin and there's like chimpanzees in the uniforms and driving and they're having fun, but we're about to all crash and die. But like I said, I hope he just sells it. It's going to be a devalued company now. He's going to end up probably selling it, and it's probably going to be for like 30 billion. He's going to take a hit on it, but it's the value. There's nothing, like I said, once you drive away your advertisers, I don't even know too many people who are paying for that check mark when you had it on there, but there's how many ways do you draw revenue? So yeah, it was it's been a wild day on Twitter. It's its own movie. Somebody's going to make a movie out of this, but I don't think the movie is going to be as good as reality because this guy is goofy, man. He's become a $46 billion Saturday Night Live skit. But I don't want to laugh because I like I said, I know a lot of people who make their money and off of Twitter, making money off of connections, and now their whole world's been destabilized. But if I don't laugh, I'll cry. All right. How you doing, Ryan? All right, let me see if that event outside of putting people on stream easier and putting messages on the screen. I don't know why people like StreamYard. It's browser based. Yeah, and I'm getting, like I said, this is how I got introduced to the world of YouTube, and it's the first one I got familiar. But like I said, before they did these changes and did all this goofy stuff and delays and unattaching your networks and not sending out alerts, yeah, it was all good, I was an infant learning to crawl, but lately it's been one new thing after another. And I'm not the guy you can throw something new at while I'm in stride. I'm single-minded. And this is a lot for me. I got all kinds of stuff up on my screen now because I go from Twitter and when we bring up topics and just a little thing will jam me up. And then today, it never muted me like that before. I mean, I make sure I do my mic test. That's why you see there's a 30-second delay and everything else because I'm testing everything on the actual YouTube stream itself. I'm watching that and I mute that after I do the countdown. And as soon as I came in and said begin broadcast, it just muted me. So I was talking for a couple of seconds before, it tells me I'm muted and I look like a fool. So I'm going to start as I get better at this and I want to improve everything. Especially once we move all of this, because me and Darth Vader are going to the Star Wars section, which is in the center of the store. And that is where we're going to do our streams. The lighting is going to be where it needs to be. The microphones are going to be where I need them to be. And I'm actually going to have another one of these microphones sitting so we can actually have guests come in because we got a lot of people that come through Vegas. Like when Lloyd Kaufman comes in, I want to be able to sit him down live with us so we can have fun with him. Sometimes I want to talk to customers. I want to have, some customers I've already agreed to come into the store on New Comic Book Day and talk to you guys. So I want to be able to do that. So, but as we get better, I want to be able to get something that is a lot cooler and streamlined. Plus I got equipment that I haven't even bought down there. My Stream Deck is still sitting at the house. I can't wait to play with that, but this is just not the setup for it. So, because I don't have multiple screens like I'll have over there. Yeah. So yeah, it's ugh. All right. So Jared, hey y'all, got blocked by Grace Randolph. Am I the only one that's not blocked by her?
Grace lost her damn mind. I got blocked by Grace. Stella got blocked by Grace.
I mean, no, I don't know anyone who's not blocked by her. Enosh is blocked by her. I think you're blocked by her. I think RJ is blocked by her. I'm not. I mean, I don't listen to her anymore. I will tune into her stuff until it starts to get to the point where, and this is any YouTuber, when they're that high up. Once that YouTuber, it starts to feel like it's like a grudge, or it starts there's something there beyond the professionalism. Then I tune out and I just go to another screen. But I haven't been blocked by her yet. I think I muted her because, like I said, I muted a bunch of people. I've never blocked anybody, and so to my knowledge, I've never been blocked. Who knows? But I just muted them because I could not read the timeline without. It was just like, holy shit! It's like an asteroid was headed to Earth today.
Well, asteroid was headed for Twitter anyway.
Yeah, the memes with the Twitter upside down with the two X's on its side. I'm like, I started to put that on my thumbnail, but I ran out of time. Hal Jordan, Gunn shooting down scoopers is a nice change. Not just scoopers, because for me, it's places like The Wrap, it's places like Variety, it's places like Hollywood Reporter, it's places like all these places that say, you know who got shot down today? Unnamed insider. Unnamed insider got his balls ripped out today by James Gunn. You know, unnamed source. Unnamed source, he got taken to an alley and it had the hell beat out of him. Right? Unnamed sources are people familiar with the so-and-so. They got punched right in the gut today. And I have all the respect in the world for these formats when they're doing it like they used to do it. Variety and things like The Wrap and things like Hollywood Reporter, when they said something, like I said, it used to be gospel. But we could bring up a chart on how many times they've either got it wrong or they've missed just enough to fuck things up and piss people off. And what have I always said? DC would solve so many of its problems if they had somebody on YouTube or one of these social media platforms that came out and said, this is bullshit. Now, I was paraphrasing myself at the time. I didn't realize we would actually get a guy that comes on there and says, this is bullshit. I'll take it. You know what? And that solves so many problems. Go ahead.
I just think it's, you know, I like what Gunn's doing. I think he's communicating with us. He's teasing us with little things, you know. I like how he's been doing.
Yeah, he's moving us along. He's just moving us along. And like I said, I'm at the point where I don't need to know everything ahead of time. When it was the previous management, I was like, oh shit, what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? I can't do it. What are these knuckle or I would find out from The Wrap or all these other sites because they would never tell us anything, and we would get the game of telephone where it's, you know, maybe a quarter of it was true, but most of it was bullshit. But what do we have to disprove the bullshit? You know what I mean? It's like we have now at James Gunn is somebody who immediately, I mean, it didn't take about less than 48 hours for him to come out and say no. So here's James Gunn's tweet, and this was hilarious. This made my day. I think I answered this yesterday, and this is him responding to someone named Yara Wayne, and then RJ's here on this one because I think I like the fact he responds directly to people like that, even people on our level. I think I answered this yesterday, but no, unless someone is wiretapping mine and Peter's private conversations, no one knows about any project or casting beyond what's already been filmed or filming besides us. That's it. You know how much damage, you know how much bullshit, piles of bullshit you just avoided just by that alone? You literally, and like I said, I know a lot of our community wants to aim at the scoopers. I don't have huge issues with any scoopers because those guys wouldn't, why is it incumbent on those guys for us to be going to information for? And for me, as far as scoopers go, if somebody posts something and I have the decision whether to believe it or not, I have never, ever in my time on this format responded to a scooper. No disrespect to scoopers, but I've chased my tail for the last 5 years looking for information on when we would finally get Zack Snyder's Justice League. I ran into a wall and fell on my ass, figuratively, following a lot of people that I just probably shouldn't have been listening to. And in their defense, where were they getting their information from? They're only as good as their sources. And they're always it's just like, so I don't have any issue with scoopers. I have issues with the circumstances that make it to where they were the crux of all the information we were getting. Who empowered all of this? People like Hamada, people like Emmerich, people like Sarnoff, who did not have a public affairs officer to sit down and say things to us, whether things we wanted to hear or not. They waited till, the first time we heard from her is when 4 days after Zack Snyder's Justice League release, and then she came out with that bullshit that pretty much torpedoed her.
Yeah.
But in the interim, if you'd have been telling, and you know what happens when you communicate with people and you put out little breadcrumbs and post some cryptic stuff, you can gauge people's responses. Because before you dump all that money on that project, if you were looking at your demographic, and not just on Twitter or anywhere, but everywhere, talk to your people, do sensing sessions in person. But when you're putting those weather balloons out there, you put weather balloons out there for a purpose, to see what the fucking weather is. And if it looks like, oh shit, this idea I had in my head is not translating to the people who will make this work, maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and tweak things. And that's the kind of stuff good people who deal with social media do. They go back to the drawing board. But the other guys are like, we don't have a plan. We don't have anything to tell you. We're going to let all these other guys make a career out of dictating the perception of our company. Whereas James Gunn's been officially in that position for 3 weeks, and he says, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm setting myself up because he's not always going to tell me what I want to hear. But I'm fine, just like Roosevelt said, and I'm paraphrasing Roosevelt, rest in peace. The American people can take bad news if you give it to them straight.
Just real quick, William, I just want to acknowledge Michelle in the chat. Good luck, Michelle. Hope everything goes well and you have no complications.
Going into labor finally?
Well, now she's leaving. She's not going to be around for a while after December because that's when she's supposed to have her son, and she's just letting us all know that she's going to disappear for a bit. I just want to say
good luck with the baby.
Congrats. Hope everything happens well and good. And we will look forward to your return afterwards.
Yeah, name that child after me. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, it's to the point now where this is what we need. This is what we need. And like I said, there are going to be some times where James Gunn comes out and tells me something that may disappoint me. But if I'm hearing it from him and not from the Randolphs and not from, these other guys that are at that level, then I'm okay with it. It's the void, it's the nothingness that really, really hurt them the last 5 to 7 years. And like I said, brace yourself, guys, because he's going to come out, him and Saffron are going to come out and, more gun than anybody and say, hey, we're not doing certain things. But you know what? In that same breath, if you tell me what we're not doing, but you're communicating to me what we are doing, I can't help but to be on board with you,
Yeah.
So, all right, Daniel Martin, how you doing, man? Let's see, Anthony. I kind of wished when it comes to specifically Marvel and DC that someone created a trade that covers Hollywood for Marvel and DC. I mean, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know if they could ever get on the same page. But even then, at some point, there would be middle people in between them. You know what I mean? Because the people who run those companies may not be as forthcoming to those people because they're not ready yet. A lot of this information comes out via these trades and these other sources before it's ready to come out. And when we get it, when it gets to our level, it's taken out of context because we don't have the whole picture. And strategically, sometimes it's to the benefit of us as fans that we are fed it in a certain way so that we can truly understand what he's doing. When he says they're building this Bible, when he's ready to tell me what's in that Bible is when I want to hear it, because hearing it from a whole bunch of other people that have their ears pressed up against a solid brick wall, trying to make out words and sentences, that's not going to do us any good. All that's going to do is cause us anxiety where we don't need it. In 2 months, when he's going to give it to them privately, and after that 2 months, he wants to start rolling it out, then I'm okay. Just knowing that there's somebody in there, that there's a grown up in the room that's running things now, and that will tell us things now and talk and have a conversation with us. I mean, I'm okay with that, So yeah, I saw this and I'm like, wow. I mean, he's aggressively shutting down the shit, which is what you got to do, especially when you're DC. He knows now that he is coming into a situation that has a very, very bad perception. Mm-hmm. And as the head, he needs to control that perception. And I love what he's doing so far.
Well, like I said before, I think he's doing great. He's coming in, he's talking to us, he's dropping little hints and stuff. I mean, he's letting us know straight up, hey, lest I say it, it's bullshit. I mean, like he's been right about it, and he's not afraid to call people out. I'll give him that. Yeah, and he hasn't done it necessarily by name in the last few weeks, but he obviously there's the person we just brought up with. He went after her immediately.
And so he apparently he's following her, or they're tagging him, and he's getting that little tweet, he's getting that little sound on his phone, and he's ready with the bullshit button. So, yeah, dude, CM Punk dude. Listen, Tony Khan, if you're watching the Poindexter Lounge right now, first of all, thank you. You know, and that means we made it. But with your 8 billion, and if you're watching the Poindexter Lounge, I understand there was a sensitive situation, and there still is with CM Punk. You need to tell those people who have a problem with CM Punk coming back to go fuck themselves. All right? Because there's money doing this. You hear that? That's CM Punk's money.
Yep.
Kind of like, and if you'd have had, like I said, I was sitting here ready to hear Cult of Personality. I was sitting here, and I would have gone 14-year-old me. I would have gone 14-year-old wrestling geek me. Because all those people that were chatting CM Punk, CM Punk and all that, every one of those motherfuckers would have been like cheering. And even if it's heat against him, MJF and him both with their belts staring off, the money would fall. Like Okada, the money would just fall from the sky. And all Tony Khan would have to do is get people with the bag, get the money, put the money in the bag, and let's get the hell out of here. So he had so much, and he wasn't even in the building. If you got somebody like that is polarizing on all levels, like I said, wrestling is not about getting along. Professional wrestling is not about professional wrestling is getting as much eyes on your product as possible. Trust me, that if you'd have had CM Punk come out tonight, and then everybody's watching watching Dynamite, everybody's going to watch Dynamite, and we got 3 to 4 days for that just to simmer like that. Man, I hope Tony Khan. Get him on TV, man. Do not release CM Punk. Do not release. Use him. There's just money, just falling from the sky right now. I know you got 8 billion, but every billionaire I've ever heard of never turned down $1. Don't turn down this. All right, Tony Khan, you can go back to whatever you were doing. Yeah, man. All right, let's be honest from Anthony. Do you really think the Young Bucks would have barged into Moxley's locker room if he went off during a media scrum like Punk did? Yeah. Moxley his persona on TV is obviously a tough son of a bitch, right? But every one of those guys that's in that ring are tremendously dangerous athletes in that environment. Moxley wouldn't have stood any much more of a chance than Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is a big, strong guy. The Young Bucks are big, strong guys. In a tight locker room situation, I could see them barging in there. Now, I don't know if the situation would have elevated to what it was, but remember, there was a third-party person in there, too, with the dog and all that elevated the situation. That's why it took so long for this to get figured out, because it wasn't just black and white like we were hearing it on the dirt sheets. There's complicated things involved, and that's why, certain people came back in certain time. But, none of that should really matter. Like I said, there's been, since the entire time I've been watching wrestling since I was 8 years old. So we're talking 40 years, right? And even when we didn't have the internet, we knew this shit was going on. I mean, we knew this stuff was going on. And you know what? They went to work. You got guys you got tag teams that hated each other, but would travel on the road together and would show up for those pay-per-views. They would do their jobs. So, I mean, you had a fight, you had a scrum. Get over it, because I need you to help make this money that you're paying, because CM Punk is going to get bought out. So so you're going to pay to buy out a guy, and you're not going to get the benefit of that heat. Fuck that, Tony. Put him on. I don't care what the dirt sheet writers say. I don't care what some of the fanboys say, because fanboys, and I'm one of them, for the most part, we're full of shit. I'm not going to watch AEW if they put CM Punk. You're full of shit. You're lying. I know. I've been a wrestling fan for most of my life, longer than some of these guys have been alive. You say that shit on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter, but you're watching. As soon as you hear Cult of Personality and you're in the other room, you're coming in that room with that remote and you're aiming it and you're going, you're not watch that. And Tony needs to know. Tony needs to know that they're full of crap. All right. I'm telling you, as a wrestling fan, I've said it over and over. I'm not going to watch that if this guy loses his match. If they don't take the title off of that guy, I'm not going to do that. Where am I at 8 hours later when the damn pay-per-view's on? Slapping down that money, watching that damn. It's the same. So all these people that would have a problem with CM Punk coming back, fuck them. Because they're all full of shit. I'm sorry. They are all going to watch. Everybody's going to watch. So, yeah, the Acclaim are still champions, but I think that is going to – I think – I don't know how long they're going to – the gimmick is great. Like I was telling RJ, their gimmick is great. I thought their gimmick was stupid when it first came out. Scissor me, daddy. I'm like, okay, first of all, you're on a family network, and I know it's wrestling, but come on now. But hey, they got big giant styrofoam scissors. I mean, it's like fans are bringing well-made stuff too, and they're out, they're highlighting them. They're in the crowd taking the stuff. They took the foam scissors one time into the ring and they worked. I'm like, and then you got Billy Gunn, who is 182 years old and still looks like he's about maybe 35, ripped as hell. He's in better condition than his two boys that are standing next to him sometimes. He can still work. He's bought it. He's like had a brand new career out of this. That Billy Gunn was done, and here he is. Part of it. Swerve and Glory. I thought that they were. I don't know why that went as long as it did, but yeah, the Acclaimed is the Acclaimed kept their titles, and they played the whole injury thing off. So I was, I thought that was cool. I thought they were going to lose today. I actually thought they were going to lose tonight, but like I said, and RJ is right when it comes to booking. Where was Thunder Rosa? Where was FTR? FTR is the best tag team in the world right now. FTR are the Ring of Honor World Champions and legit. And I'm not saying that, just because AEW owns it and they, they're just degrading the belts by putting them on their wrestlers. If FTR was in Ring of Honor right now, they would be the World Tag Team Champions. All right. They're the IWGP Tag Team Champions. They are the best team in New Japan. All right. I watch AAA. They're the AAA World Tag Team Champions. They are the best team in AAA. Now, the guy who pays them the bulk of their money has not put them in a championship situation, and I need to see them versus the Acclaim, because anybody who watches wrestling, you need to watch FTR versus Aussie Open. It was a New Japan one from a couple weeks ago. One of the best tag team matches I've seen in the last 10 years. They're missing from the pay-per-view. At 3 matches on the pay-per-view, 3 of them I could have done without. And some people that were missing that could have been on there. So I hope AEW fixes that. So, yep, CM Punk had that heat. Ryan, Dawn of Hope, DCU Cinematic. Hal Jordan, I believe they are going to report the 10-year plan to Zazoff in private and not to the public yet. So that's why I'm hoping for them to release the DCU state within March. Yeah, I think they're going to I think we're going to get it in drips and drabs. I think we're going to get the news, because especially remember they have a whole slate of movies that they have inherited.
Well, they said that they were going to say something about it in 2 months, like from that point.
Yeah, but so I think the 10-year plan, I think we're going to get morsels of it. I don't think we're going to get like the whole, like a Marvel thing with they're going to show their entire, you know what I mean? I think we'll start to get information. I don't know if they're going to give everything to us.
Yeah, but I think we might get a year or two, maybe like some slate.
Yeah,
we're going to get some slate, but just not the whole thing.
I'm betting a year. I'm betting a year, because remember, we still got a year of these inherited movies too. So depending on how that goes, and which is, and another thing I want to know is what kind of changes are they making to these movies to make them relevant to, because their plan is going to be a different one than the Armada plan, but they're using these inherited foundations to build their new thing off of. So I'm going to be curious to hear it. Statlander, yeah, she wasn't there. She keeps getting injured, man, and she's big and powerful, and that's the one that I think that would match up against Cargill, but she got bad knees. She keeps tearing stuff up. All right. See, the whole Chris Jericho having the Ring of Honor title starting to prove to me that Tony bought the company because he had so much money. Well, yeah, that was one of the reasons. But Chris Jericho is a credible champion. But at the same time, I need him to speed up the separation of Ring of Honor, because everybody that was in that ring tonight, was a Ring of Honor champion, and Daniel Bryant built his career back up in Ring of Honor. You have Samoa Joe, who was a Ring of Honor champion, who's held those titles. So you have the relevant pieces. They just need to be taken off of AEW TV and put in an environment that is not AEW. I think he's working on that, but like I said, and I think it's now that Warner Brothers Discovery is there, I actually think they're going to get a show on TBS or TNT. And that would be a huge upgrade, because one of the things about Ring of Honor, Sinclair Broadcasting sucked. Sinclair Broadcasting had money at one time before they lost a lot of their advertising revenue. But even at the height of Sinclair Broadcasting, they didn't spend a dime on Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, one of the main reasons why everybody just left Ring of Honor, and was because when it came time for contract negotiations and stuff like that, the people who were running Ring of Honor didn't have any negotiating power, because they knew Sinclair Broadcasting wasn't going to pay it. So that's where New Japan pretty much would siphon a lot of their guys. A lot of their guys worked for both Ring of Honor and New Japan, and they would do like World of the Worlds, and they would do dual pay-per-views and they would sell out Madison Square Garden, but it wasn't Ring of Honor selling out Madison Garden. It was New Japan selling out Madison Garden with Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor got half that revenue, because they had to do that because their backers weren't going to give them anything. And when AEW came along, when all these guys were done, Ring of Honor was helpless to keep any of those guys. So Ring of Honor gutted New Japan and Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor just didn't have the money, and they were owned by a broadcasting company that has syndication in almost every state in the union. So I think that if they were to get on TNT or TBS, because I had to watch Ring of Honor here on like an off channel, or it came on 12:30 Sunday morning. That's when I had to watch Ring of Honor, unless you were watching their pay-per-views. That's not good. If they were to get on, what Tony Khan has done, though, is he's given them a chance to be something more than they ever were. As great as it was before, if he handles it right and gets them a TV deal, they can get wrestlers that don't necessarily have to leave Ring of Honor for another federation. So, yeah, he bought it because, all rich guys, look at Elon Musk. I mean, they have it, but he's also, to Tony Khan's defense, and he gets a lot of heat, he's a wrestling fan. Billy Corgan, these guys are wrestling, and he's not just a guy with a bunch of money he's a wrestling fan. If he wasn't a wrestling fan, he wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. You can disagree with the way he handles some things, but it's coming from a wrestling fan. But he needs to be honest with you. He needs to put a person up in the middle between him and the product that is a wrestling veteran, because there's a difference between a wrestling fan and a professional booker and a professional scout agent. These are people that have been doing this, 20, 30, in some cases 40 years. And I would like to see the company go in that direction. I don't ever need to see him on camera again. No more, I think, media scrums, stuff like that. I don't need to see that. I do not need to even know that he owns it, to be honest with you, because that's the problem I have with WWE, is this whole entire damn McMahon family was on my TV every Monday, winning titles and shit. I'm like, world champion Vince McMahon. I'm like, what? So it was just like Shane McMahon wrestling the Undertaker. It was like, I know you guys own it. Great. But do I need to see? For the first half of my wrestling fandom, I didn't know Vince McMahon owned WWE, because he was always just a commentator sitting right next to either Gorilla Monsoon or Jesse the Body Ventura. It wasn't until, later when I was a teenager that I knew that he owned, the territories and, or that he consolidated all that stuff. But we didn't have internet. We didn't have Wikipedia right then. You only knew what they told you for the most part. So Tony Khan is not as bad as it could be. If you want to see how bad things can be, check out what WWE has been in the last 20 years. It's been successful, but Roman Reigns has been, dude, there are people that were born on the day Roman Reigns won those titles. You're walking now. Okay. No shit. If your kids were born the day Roman Reigns and this bloodline storyline started, your kids are actually saying and speaking words and ready to go into kindergarten. That's how long this storyline has been. That's bad booking. So it could be worse. Tony Khan's annoying. Yeah, he's a rich guy, bought a toy, but it could be far worse. And I think he can get better, because I think he's learning from these mistakes, because, now all he has to do is give me a pay-per-view that's not 13 matches with, 3 to 4 matches I don't need to see. All right, Jordan. Okay, I am most like the rest. I'm really curious. Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm happy to have that sense of wonder instead of that sense of oh shit. It's a nice feeling. You know, don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's a nice feeling. All right. Yeah, Stinger is 60 years old. 60, 61. Jarrett was wrestling, and Jarrett has not kept himself in the best of shape. That match was horrible in my opinion. RJ liked it. I thought that match was horrible. But yeah, Sting has been relatively he's kept himself in shape. He didn't run himself into the ground. There was a time when WWE bought the remnants of what was WCW. He could have come over there. He never did. He came to WWE or after he was well into his 50s and he had done everything. And when he did do it, he did it on such a light schedule that he never ran. He stayed away from the painkillers. He stayed away from the drugs. So there's a lot of guys who are now dead that if they didn't do all that would probably still be wrestling today if they had taken care of themselves. Sting's still wrestling. If you watch Sting's matches though, he doesn't do the crazy stuff now because he knows he's 60. And even if you could do that crazy stuff, at 60, you heal a lot slower from a chair shot than you do when you're 30. So he's careful. That's why he's got Darby Allin doing most of the main stuff. You know, he's crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Anthony. Yeah. Yeah, no, they turned Keith Lee babyface. And I thought that was done poorly, but I'll let you guys watch it and see. It was a standard tag team breakup. I'm walking away from you. 6 of 10. Yeah, 6 of 10. I can't give it any higher than 6 of 10 because there was too many matches that broke up. I mean, you would watch the Death Triangle match, and then the like I said here. This is what preceded Death Triangle. Okay, so Death Triangle was an awesome match, right? Here next match, Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose, and you got to be able to set up a card because once you lose steam, it's really hard to pick it back up. I think they did a decent job here, but some of these matches need to be the matches at the beginning of the show. Either they needed to be off the card or they needed to be at the beginning of the show. So while you're getting your beer, your pretzels, and all your other stuff, and going to the bathroom, these are the matches that allow you to get to your seat. They should not be. It's called a mid card for a reason, and there was too much mid card stuff that was up higher on the card. While you had Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and the match I wanted to see, and I thought was one of the highest quality matches on the card, literally the second match of the night. That's not good. Especially when you got people bleeding in the ring and you're gonna cage match. You opened up the thing with a cage match, and I'm like, okay, now Jungle Jack is bleeding everywhere. Part of it's not a good look when you have to get other people get in the match after somebody has had a brutalizing match. Like we went to New Japan show and they had to stop the show to scrub the blood off the match because it did not look good on TV, on the network sharing it on. So yeah, I'd 6 out of 10 is fair. William, can you drop the link for StreamYards for Poindexter Lounge? And you can only.
He's trying to get on so he can talk to us. He's wanting a link.
Sure. Let's. In perfect timing, because I got to take a call. All right, we'll bring some people in. It's not going to be for a long, long time, but I'll if you want to talk wrestling, I'd rather talk to you than reading stuff on the screen is really impersonal. I know we have to do it this way, but yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think that when this is all said and done, we're going to kind of regret how this thing got out of control. How you doing, Anthony?
Let's be honest. These tech billionaires like Elon Musk, these silicon guys are very sensitive. They can't handle criticism. Why do you think he what is it called? Kicked the people that left his company out of Twitter because they were going to criticize. As soon as they left, they were going to get on Twitter and start criticizing the guy? Why do you think he what is it called? After the mass exodus of some of his big what is it called? The executives in Twitter left. They were gonna go on Twitter.
Are you breaking up, or am I breaking up?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking
I got
up.
you.
Go ahead and mute yourself. I'll go ahead and answer that real quick. Yeah, when you've had a string of, when you've never had a real failure, you got to realize where Elon Musk came from. He was not a broke guy. He was born rich. His father owned diamond mines in South Africa, or jewel mines in South Africa, and he was heavily subsidized. So he's not like me, where I'm scraping and, doing the whole top ramen thing just to make sure that I have that extra buffer for my store when I was first starting out. The ramen years, they should make a movie about my first 4 or 5 years in business.
Hey! The ham on hand sandwiches, man.
Hey, bologna sandwiches and mayonnaise.
Fried bologna sandwiches are the bomb.
Elon Musk has never had that. No one has ever told him no forcibly. And now he's thrown himself into an arena where anybody can say no. You can fire everybody you want to. The people are dude, you read up and down these timelines, there are people, all walks of life just destroying this dude. And he can't take it. He's not like, some other individuals that just do not give a fuck. He actually gives a fuck about the perception of things. And he cornered himself into this because once he signed the deal that he did for Twitter was stupid. For a guy that's that smart, he signed himself into what basically was a no-look deal. And when that happens, you basically are agreeing to terms, lock solid terms, and you're not even looking at the companies, So like I said, if I were going to buy Fade's lemonade stand, right? That's like me making an agreement. And this is legal. We sign a deal and we agree in principle. I'm going to buy Fade. I don't care how many lemons Fade has. I don't even care if Fade actually has a lemon stand. I have said that I am going to buy this lemon stand for this price. And he did it in a way that could hold up in court. So if he had looked at their finances and looked at where their revenue came from, and did a deep dive like you do when you purchase a company like that, he would have never bought Twitter. But he was already remember, they were going to sue him. When he tried to pull out of the deal, they were going to sue them, and they were going to win. Those stockholders were saying, you know what? You've come in, you've thrown everything in chaos. Our company is being devalued now. Our shares are being devalued now. You have to. You've committed, and he couldn't pull out of it. So now he was stuck with it, and he had to complete the transaction. And now, like I said, I think this is going to end one of two ways. One of them is him selling the company. The other way, I don't think Twitter is going to go away because, like I said, just pure volume wise, but its relevancy will be harmed. Its intangibility will be harmed because of the fact that, once again, 80 million or a billion people using Twitter. If there are a billion people that are using it in a way that is productive and that's attractive to ad buyers, we're good. If it's just a bunch of knuckleheads that hide behind a keyboard and spout bullshit and do all that, then we're not good. Because
I thought Twitter was originally owned by the guy who runs Facebook, Zuckerberg. Did Zuckerberg sell the?
No.
No.
Okay. Twitter was a public company. I mean, and like I said, but at the same time, there are built-in problems with Twitter that make other formats just better. I mean, Instagram is better. Facebook Business is better. TikTok, which I never thought I would say this, the words jumping out of my mouth, that TikTok is a more viable business tool. And you look at my Twitter, my Facebook page. I'm making money off of Twitter. I posted stuff on Twitter today that people have come in and gotten, that have come in and bought. I posted stuff on not Twitter, but on TikTok. Star Trek posters that I got people coming down for it. That was never the case with Twitter because people go to Twitter for something different than they do these other formats. And unfortunately, that is a built-in problem.
Yeah, but Twitter, for me, it's not good for businesses in general. Like that type of format they use is not good to advertise businesses. Like it's better for people who are just wanting to follow celebrities or athletes. That's what Twitter is good for, to follow like celebrities and athletes. But now with the joke that Twitter's become, all these big celebrities are starting to like cancel their accounts with Twitter. Did you see that? Like, there's a mass exodus of celebrities.
Yeah, and that's bad, because not, even though it's not the best platform for business, I can testify to that personally. It's still used as a networking tool for other businesses. Like, I know a lot of businesses that network with each other and get like, range buying power and do all this stuff. And it's no longer a viable thing. And like I said, when you lose your brain trust, it would be like me, I have a movie theater and I'm showing high-end movies and I'm packing the house, but all of a sudden I do a lot of stupid stuff. And the people who come and pay and come and watch the high-end thing, that are going to buy the high-end beer, are going to buy the good popcorn, they all leave. My theater fits 300. Yeah, my fits 300, right? And I get 300 more people, but they're the people who are like, oh, no, they're the Pabst Blue Ribbon buying people instead of the high-end beer people. There are bologna and mayonnaise, top ramen eating guys. They're not the steak eating guys. I have 300 people, the same 300 people that I fill 300 seats, but they're people that I cannot maximize my income now. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with Twitter. But like I said, it doesn't mean a lot to me, because like I said, out of all the platforms, I'm only here because of YouTube, and most of the people that we deal with were on YouTube. Enosh was on not YouTube, on Twitter. Thade is on Twitter. All the people that I interact with in order to get this show where I've gotten it are all on Twitter. But once
Goblin and Stella are backstage.
Yeah, I'll get to them. Once I get to the point where I feel that I have other realms of communication with people, I'm not going to use Twitter as much either. I mean, I won't engage. I mean, I'll post things and it automatically posts for me. But all right, so I am going to go ahead and bring in Goblin here. Anthony, I'm going to go ahead and transition you out and transition him in real quick, so that we can keep going on. But thanks for coming on. I'm glad I got you on. And yeah, it's a shit show. And by the way, kind of
before I go, I want to ask you a question about the James Gunn thing. Do you think, do you guys think he specifically? Do you guys think, without calling out names, do you think he was talking about people like Everything Awesome or a Grace Randolph, these channels that say they have sources within the business, or was
he was talking about all scoopers?
I personally think he was talking about the trades.
Yeah, that's another thing. The trades have been falling down here lately.
Because scoopers, is as much as people may rely on them, and you may like scoopers, you may not like scoopers, but when you compare a scooper to like Hollywood Reporter or something like that, that is more directly going to affect him. So I personally think he was aiming at the trades. That's just me. All right. What kind of dog is that in your picture, by the way, Anthony?
Dogo.
Oh, okay. I've always wondered, because it just looks like the dog is talking when you're talking, because it vibrates. All right, man. Thanks for coming by, and we'll get you on next week, man.
Well, when are you doing your other another simulcast?
Probably tomorrow night. Probably tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Depending on how much energy I have. It depends on how much football takes out of me. All right, man. All right, and now we're gonna bring in real quick. How you doing, Film Goblin?
Hey, William. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem.
What's up, Deep?
What's on your mind? I feel like a call-in show, like with the old call-in shows from the 70s. I need Ongo's voice. Ongo's voice is like all deep and shit. Go ahead, man.
Oh, nothing. I was just wanting to see if we could talk about the whole James Gunn and Henry Cavill situation that's been going on lately.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess for me personally, I kind of do believe on the side of like Jarbo, where I think Henry Cavill has not really officially signed a new contract yet.
Okay, okay. So on that, and I'll answer that for you really quick. That really isn't a whole lot of. There is no contract yet because there is no movie yet. Okay, Henry's back. If Henry Cavill is not going to sit there and talk about him being back and not be back, okay, Henry doesn't do that. That's not the kind of actor he is.
Well, true, but I also kind of being open-minded where I think that was somewhat of like a marketing tactic to go see Black Adam for that cameo. But
Not necessarily.
But I just think we just have to wait and see what happens.
All right, let me jump in real quick. All right, I think he's back. Once again, what we know. Remember, we are outsiders with our face pressed up against a office room that we will never be in. And one of the reasons why I'm going to go ahead and put together what I have in front of me. When he announced that he was back, there was no reason for every major Warner Brothers owned site to simultaneously put that out there. And if they have examined anything in the last 5 to 7 years, they know what a bad faith move is. They know what Shazam Headless Superman has done. They know what kind of damage is being done, and I don't think they're going to go down that road yet. Like I said, we fans, we have our place on the pecking order. We have our relevancy. We are a very important part of all of this. But when it comes to what we know and don't know, in the absence of them coming out and saying one way or another, you have to the common sense has to come in, and it makes no sense for them to come out and promote him and literally blast his return, not just for Black Adam. That was a clear statement. It's him talking to you via Warner Brothers Pictures, Instagram, Twitter, all their official media. So just because we don't know doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Just understand where we are in the pecking order. The best scooper you know, the best trade you know, they're all out there with us with our face pressed against that glass, trying to make out the words. That's where we are. That's our level. It's great to be a fan, but we need to understand where we are in the game and where they are in the game. And we're way down. We're in the cheap seats. All right. All of us are in the cheap seats. The trades are in the cheap seats. All right. The big name channels with their 100, they're in the cheap seats. And I think James Gunn made that very apparent today. All right. The only person in the good seat
he made that very clear.
Yeah, is him.
Thank goodness.
So,
okay, let me just step in here because I'm the Henry Cavill shield sycophant. Yes, I expect a restraining order and all that good stuff to come towards me.
And you'll probably end up with one.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm expecting it.
Okay, the words and thoughts of Stella Baxter or hers alone. Do not subpoena
yes,
Henry Cavill turns up missing.
They are mine alone, but for those who don't know me, I used to work for several studios in the legal department. I'm a low on the totem pole. I was only a clerk, but I was privy to many a contract, many things that happened for these things. And the reason why I share this is because I'm trying to keep everybody's anxiety level down. But I've also been a fan of Henry Cavill since 2002 when he premiered in The Count of Monte Cristo. So it's not just a pretty face. I've been following his career. But from what I can tell you now, to hopefully answer Film Goblin's question and stuff like that, is a lot of actors have contracts when they're doing other projects. I'm pretty sure Henry Cavill had some sort of clause in each and every contract with Highlander, Argyle, The Witcher, everything he's been doing, that if Warner Brothers and Superman call, one, he'll be able to go, whether it means rearranging everybody's film schedule or guess what? He's going to bolt. Hence, which is what happened with The Witcher, because it's usually a 3-season, 3-picture deal. So that was in the works already. So this is stuff that, like William said, we don't know. But the whole fact that he's not coming back for Witcher season 4, and he's handing it off to Liam, Hemsworth, means he's clearing his slate to do whatever Superman project is there. He still has Argyle. He still has Highlander. and other, little projects that he likes. But he just freed up his schedule for Superman. That's how I know he's back. And again, all this time, him and Danny Garcia have been saying Superman's cape is still in his closet. Yes, the old regime was trying to push him out along with Zack Snyder. But he fought. He was patient. He played it close to the vest. And now he can tell you what's going on. And of course, we don't know what projects are there, but he's back. He's there. And for anyone to say otherwise, you really have to examine what's been going on.
Also, and I just want to interject here, the trades, which is where this is coming from, in fact, one in particular, they've been falling down in quality lately. And so to trust the trades just because they say they have an insider, with the shakeups over at WB, I'm pretty sure most people's insiders have been shaken out or the tree has been taken. So to say that anybody has an insider at Warner Brothers right now, that's suspect. Okay.
Yeah, and like Jared, you and me being banned by Grace Randolph, it's because I said, and I don't care who who wants to report it back to her, but I used to follow her channel, until recently she's gotten like really frazzled, and I think she needs psychiatric help. And that's just, a concerned human being seeing someone that I used to follow falling apart.
Jessica Chastain thing. I watched that clip. I'm like, wow, she's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
that was scary when the way she went after her.
Yeah, and this is just my opinion. Wow. I think Grace Randolph has some issues which she needs to take care of, and she really needs to get off the air and get help. And whatever sources she had at Warner Brothers are gone, and she's freaking out.
Well, see, all I ask is anybody who reports these things, keep it on the up and up. I mean, if I get the feeling that you're reporting about a star and it seems like you got an issue with them and it's not the story, then I can't listen to you as much anymore. Because that whole, like I said, the Jessica Chastain thing, I'm like, how can I ever listen to you about her when you just completely went on a 5-minute meltdown about how much, and you probably never even met this woman, you don't know this woman. And then when it comes to Cavill, I'm like, when I start hearing people that you can hear it in their voice, you can hear it in their tone. When you say you're the news, but I start hearing a slant, then I'm like, now it's an editorial, and that's fine. Do editorial, but when I'm trying to get information, I don't want to chase my tail anymore. I spent 5 years chasing my tail with this whole Zack Snyder thing. Listening to the wrong people most of the time.
And the other thing too is, as fans, please look at the source where it's coming from. I mean,
especially with today's one, because that particular person has had a up and down.
Again, no trades are unbiased. Okay.
Yeah.
No journalism today. I'm sorry, but journalism being unbiased today is let's not even get started about the Rolling Stone. No trades are unbiased these days. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's got something to say, and everybody's got problems with somebody. And that's where we're coming in with this. The trades are really not to be trusted at this point. The only people you can trust are those studios when they come and talk to you, like Mr. Gunn has been talking to us.
Yeah. And I've always said this. I've been saying this for a few years. I'm going to stay consistent with this. No matter where the source of the information comes from, it is incumbent on the person who is absorbing this information to make better decisions about how they intake that information and what it means to them. If you got to be better as a fan to understand that, okay, when somebody says a Superman thing's maybe in trouble, and no one who has a name has said that, and you have nothing concrete but what is there? What is there is Henry Cavill telling me, I'm happy to be back. I can't wait to be in the suit, paraphrasing him. And you have the company who owns the IP promoting it and pushing it.
Yep.
So if you don't have anything else from a name, then you really need to understand that, okay, you need to take that with a grain of salt. And then when the name, James Gunn, comes out and says, pretty much none of you guys know any of this yet.
Exactly.
And like I said, this is the point where this is what I've always wanted. I want the horses now to be talking and not the horses shit to be the one driving the news. and I have
Or,
that now. So, I'm in a good place personally.
Yeah, it's like people just like, lower your own anxiety level by just looking at the source. Don't, I mean, everyone's take on it doesn't mean anything. To be honest, I'll even tell you not to listen to me. But again, I
Or me.
worked in legal. I saw these contracts, being inked. Not exactly, but I know what the gist of the language is and what they do and what certain actors will ask for.
Yeah.
What the talents and the creatives will ask for. So look
And this
for
is with
that.
any media,
Yeah,
whether it's us, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News,
yeah,
the consumer has to be smarter at this
yeah.
point.
I mean, I'm glad James Gunn is doing this because we needed it, unfortunately. I mean, because everyone's, each studio's has its own way of handling things. Their own public relations has their own way of doing things, but they really need to get on the ball because, unfortunately, everyone is loving lying right now, and scoopers.
Or being the first. Everybody wants to be first. And I'm like,
I don't want to be first. I'd
Yeah.
rather have the correct information to make my decisions,
so,
and pass on the information. I don't, to be honest, like I said, I don't want to look like an idiot because I'm giving out bad information.
or
you know?
cause myself extra blood pressure because, oh
Yeah.
no. I mean, I'm like, the sky is falling again. And that's why with the trades, and Rolling Stone is really my main target. The Hollywood Reporter and the Wrap, I don't put
When I
at the
heard they
same
got
level
bought out
as
by certain
those.
people, I knew that meant that, oh, forget it. They are no longer a good source of anything.
I'm not going to name those people on the show, but you know who they are.
Yeah.
When it came to that Rolling Stone article, there was 2 articles that came from a particular person, and they were hit jobs. So I'm like, when I see that person's name come up again, sorry, I mean, one way or another, I'm just not going to listen to you. I'm not going to cause myself that kind of stress, and I'm not going to be like these conspiracy theories that try to put together what these guys have put out. Because, like I said, the equalizer is the fact that we ain't in the office.
Yeah,
I don't care if you got 1 million followers. I don't care if you got 100 followers. I don't care if you got an unnamed source. Trust me, there is no substitute for being in that office, and none of us are going to be in that office, man.
Yeah, like I said,
I wish I was, but I'm
idea.
not.
Yeah, I have an idea, and like I said, I'll share with you to alleviate what fears you may have, but to totally disregard that Henry Cavill gave up The Witcher, and Netflix is paying him a nice shiny penny for that.
Well, he also campaigned for the part, so like.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, for those who don't know, Henry Cavill played the game The Witcher, heard the show was coming up, had his agent Danny Garcia call them every day to find out, when they were auditioning. When he got to talk to the showrunner, she's like, "Oh, thank you, but we'll get back to you. We want to see some other people first." But Henry kept pressing on it. So after they auditioned all these other people, they're like, "Hey, we should take Henry Cavill," and they did, and it's been really good. Yeah, there's talk about the writers, not doing so well, and since Henry read the books, he was a little, persistent on they should follow the books, as we all do, as all book nerds do. But, like I said, the only thing I could think of is that, his contract was up for renewal. And I know Jeebus said you think he left Superman, he left Witcher before Superman was on the table. No, I think Superman was already on the table.
Yeah, all of that.
I think Zaslav.
Off topic, real quick. Elon Musk, and I'll give you guys can get back to Elon Musk owning Twitter changes nothing. They just want to freak out because they can't use it to abuse people they disagree with. No, Elon Musk owning Twitter changes everything for the reasons I gave you, because you're as a social media company that draws revenue no other way. You are beholden to ad revenue and outside external situations. If you conduct yourself in a manner that is not befitting of those advertisers or those sponsors, that changes everything. They're going to leave. All right. And if they think that you've backloaded your public, your audience with people that they can no longer sell to, or no longer the demographic that that it's worth them advertising to, everything changes. So it's not the face of the company, and how you conduct yourself as the head of a company, it changes everything, because somebody with the money is looking, and he definitely money does affect him, because if it didn't affect him, he wouldn't be trying to shrink costs the way he is. But like I said, you can't do what he's doing simply because there's no way you'll ever be able to shrink the cost of Twitter to where it can run with 30% of its ads since missing. It just can't. All right. A lot of these YouTubers you see, if any of them can't be, any of these guys lost 30% of their ad revenue, of their automatic ad revenue, the quality is going to decrease. The instability is going to decrease. Now, you might make it a couple of months because, like I said, your car is going to run based on prior maintenance, but eventually you need an oil change. Eventually, you're going to need to change your tire. And if you don't have competent people doing that or paying for that, then you're going to be in a rut sooner than later. So, yeah, him owning it changes everything. That literally is what he did. So I just wanted to bring that up. Go ahead, guys.
Well, oh god. Well, just for Twitter in general, it's yeah. It like I said, it's a cesspool, and just to get back to Henry a bit and Superman, he's there. Anyone that says anything contrary to it, I mean, yeah, if you don't like Henry, that's fine. Then don't watch, but don't keep making up stuff because you don't like Henry or you're being contrary to try to be relevant.
Well, and the reasons for people, the reasons for people to be angry with Henry are fucking irrelevant anyway. Okay, the two major things that I've heard people being upset and turning on Henry for is one, because he did the Black Adam movie cameo, and he's not for Zack Snyder. Guys, get the fuck over that shit. Okay, come on, get over it.
I don't even give those guys oxygen.
When he made the announcement for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So those two are still friends. When Henry just did that interview at the Y a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Zack Snyder is congratulating him.
So all you guys trying to, spill bad blood, well, guess what? People who are actually fans or even normies who don't give a crap about all this, know that they're friends. So
and
any naysayers, please stop. No one's going to believe you. If you like lies, go someplace else.
The second part I have to say about it is the other people that are having a problem with Henry right now are the people that are upset with him saying he wants a more hopeful Superman. Get over that too. Okay. What he means by hopeful and what you think he means by hopeful are two different entirely things. All right. He isn't talking about becoming the Christopher Reeve Superman. That's not what he's saying, more hopeful. Superman has always been a symbol for hope. Always. You're not going to get an Injustice style Superman out of Henry Cavill. And he's also not going to stay on the same somewhat apathetic level that he was in Man of Steel. And the reason why it's going to be a natural progression of him realizing what he means to the planet, not just to a certain group or whatever. He's trying to become what Superman has always been meant to be.
What Zack planned out for him that we never got. See, a lot of these guys are angry, and they should be angry that we never got that Superman because Zack never got a chance to finish telling the story. If Snyder would have had a chance to finish telling a story, we would have been there already, and we would have moved on. So that's a big key.
Exactly.
But to close out on the Henry Cavill thing, listen, guys, for everybody who you have a right to speculate and guess, I'm going to say this. I don't care what any trade says until someone from Warner Brothers Discovery or Henry Cavill himself comes out and refutes what they all pimped out that day. Then I have only the last things I've heard from them. And I'm sorry, they're not going to come out and make that big a deal and make sure it's on even on DC's Instagram page. All right, they're not going to do that when they know the fragility of the situation they walked into. So yeah, maybe there's not a contract signed for one thing, but once again, just understand the volume of information that none of us know because we are not in that office is much larger than the facts that you have. You have him on every social media that day saying, I'm back as Superman. I'm looking forward. You have Zack Snyder acknowledging it. You have Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, all of the sources I just named are 100% more credible than some trade. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, would you say they're still going to actually fast track that Man of Steel 2 or Superman 2, whatever they're going to call it?
It's going to be important, yes.
No, I'm
How would
saying,
you-
are they going to actually start making that movie right away? Like the way
They're
they've been
still
saying?
they're still looking for a writer to write the script, but he's going to be doing a lot of cameos.
But I thought you
And
already
he's
had a
there.
script.
No, they don't have a script
No.
on it yet. They don't even have a director or writer yet.
But he had
There
a
was-
script back in 2018 with Christopher
We're-
McQuarrie.
We're in 2022.
No,
though.
no,
Here's the
We're in
thing.
2022,
They never
dude.
did. They were talking.
And I'm
about
not
it.
saying that, by the way, Film Gob. I'm not saying that to be facetious. But even if what that was 100% right, say we had a script in 2018, doesn't mean that that's the script that the incoming management wants to go with.
Yeah, Henry Cavill
Well, that's what I'm
and Chris
saying.
McQuarrie
Yes.
were working on something while they were working on Fallout. But at the moment, Warner Brothers Discovery hasn't reviewed
Look,
Christopher
the
McQuarrie's
difference.
movie, I believe.
The
But it could
difference,
change.
Goblin. The difference, Goblin, is 2018 versus 2022. This
Look
is
where
a
we're
whole
at.
new regime right now. There's a whole new regime right now. That script probably
Well, yeah,
got
but-
shelved.
So then it's not going to get fast tracked then.
I don't. Okay,
No.
to answer your question, I never got a chance to answer your question. I don't think it's going to be fast tracked at all. I think it's going to be paced with two factors are going to be determined where we are at with the movies that they have already had inherited. That's not a word. That they've inherited and what plan they have going forward. I don't think there's any particular timetable that they're going to force themselves in. I think they're going to use those two factors. What they're doing to augment the things that they had no control over as far as their movies that are in the can and what their plans are. I don't think they're looking at the calendar saying we have to do it by this date, this date. I think what they're doing, and that's why this is taking a while, is they are going to put that movie out when it is relevant to the entire Bible. And I don't know when that is going to be. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be fast track because I don't want to rush shit. But we already know that both Zaslav and the incoming management have put those characters and that level of characters on a high tier. So it is a priority. But once again,
For one.
you brought in two guys. Hold on, you brought in two guys to lay out a game plan for you. So I think that we're going to get a Superman movie when it makes sense into that Bible. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Well, yeah, but I was thinking, isn't it? Some people were saying that it was going to come out sometime in 2024 or
Well, that's
2025 or something.
that's your problem. That's your
No.
problem. Some people.
Yeah.
Right
Some
there, you
people.
answered your own problem. Some people.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Superman is important. The Trinity is important, but you don't want them fast tracking a Superman 2 right now, because if they fast track that, it's not going to be a good movie. You got to give these people. You got to give Gunn and Safran time to get their plan down, to get their game plan going between themselves before we get anything. Remember, right now, only thing that's going out is inherited stuff from the old regime. For another year or so, for another year or so, the new stuff is not going to be. They say in a couple of months we'll get some idea of what may be coming, but remember, we're not getting anything actually brand new from WBD until probably year after next.
Go ahead, Film Goblin.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying it was going to be open. I'm also kind of leaning. I hope they don't do any sort of reboot whatsoever. But I feel like that's kind of becoming a little bit more apparent now that they might do some sort of kind of reboot.
It's going to be a soft reboot if it's a reboot at all.
I don't think it's going to be a reboot at all.
There's also a chance that it could not be Cavill, though, or any of the original cast.
I'm going to answer
that
that real quick.
From? They're
and then
all
we'll move up.
signed.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Right now, there's no credible information for that. There's a lot of people.
I'm not saying.
Stuff.
I'm hoping it's not
just
true,
you.
though. That's
Yeah.
I'm just speculating that that's a possibility.
Everything is on the table right now, Gob. But now, once again, we could speculate. But I'm looking at the crumbs that are there now that I can count on. I know that Gal Gadot is still there under contract. I know Momoa is still coming out with another movie, and I know that Henry Cavill and Warner Brothers Discovery have gone on before millions of people and said they are going forward. Now, I don't have a lot else, and that's okay. I'm okay with that right now. But if I was going to guess, and this is just a guess, is that I don't think you're going to see any type of reboot anytime soon, soft or otherwise. I think that they will focus on what is relevant to them. They may not refer to either Justice League going forward, but it will be there when they need to. And I think they're going to run out the clock while these actors and these characters and the movies that they already have in the zeitgeist are still relevant. At some point, they will transition to something else, but I don't think that's going to be anytime soon. That's just my guess, because it doesn't make any sense to do so.
I hope you're right. I really do.
And I actually had a picture. I should have put it on here. I had my remote on my TV, right? And you know how you have the digital TV guide, and 2 different channels had 2 DC films on them. Now, one of the reasons why, business-wise, just as somebody who's just dealing with these IPs on my low level, is you have a lot of content that is recently relevant that all of these individuals are involved. And whenever you take a comic book IP and you reboot or you sever that relevance, the numbers fall. And there's too much money to be made just off the stuff that you have. You literally could recycle your old money into new money, because you have physical media, you have those movies that I just told you about that are on other channels that are being licensed out, and then the ad revenue that's coming in from that. Now, the last thing you want to do is make that irrelevant, especially when you can bring in a brand new fan. Most of the people who are going to see these DC movies, believe it or not, they're probably going to be new to the franchises. But guess what? Once I have them into the door, hey, by the way, did you like that MILF Magnet Momoa that you just saw? Guess what? Why don't you either buy this copy of Aquaman, this glow in the dark Aquaman I just put out there, or better yet, why don't you subscribe to HBO Max? You can watch all the MILF Magnets you want. Hey, Cavill's on there too. So you're turning that new money and that old money, and you're recycling it. But once you cut the relevancy, that's not there, because people want that connection. They want the stuff that they're watching to be relevant, no matter what point in time they jump on. They could jump on late. They still want to know that there's a foundation to go back on. And if there's pre-existing stuff, a reboot absolutely cuts that relevancy in half, and it cuts that money in half. That's just from me having to deal with these characters and seeing what reboots have done just to their sales alone. Just on the micro level, just the comic book stories. There's nothing that shot DC Comics in the balls more than the reboots they've done in the last 15 years. So there's just too much money to be made to do that.
Well, yeah. Well, you know me personally. The other night, how I said, if they do some sort of reboot, I hope it's not a soft reboot, because I feel like, soft reboot has to be earned. You can't just do it because for the sake of it, Yeah. We you and I both want to see the Darkseid story arc from the Snyderverse be resolved first before they ever decide to do any sort of type of soft reboots whatsoever going forward.
Credibility wise, there's no credibility going forward if you don't finish what you started. I'm not going to hand you new money when you wasted my old money. You know what I mean? It's just kind of tough for me to trust you if because I don't know after 4 or 5 years if you're just going to leave me holding the bag. My time's important.
Yeah,
people's money is important.
But I think I would just be more open to a hard reboot than a soft reboot, just because it's like you said, but
a hard reboot comes with problems.
Unless you don't finish what you started first.
Hard reboots come with problems, major problems.
I like to use a different word. Finish what you started. Give yourself the legs and credibility if you want to transition into something else. All right. Sew up what you started. If you're going to tell me to trust you with a family of 4 and $100 and popcorn and candy and buying your pop figures and buying your t-shirts, if you wanted me to trust you with that kind of money, then you need to show me that you're worth it, that you can finish something. That's the first thing that DC Films needs to do, is show people that they can finish something. The last thing that they need to do is start over again. Nobody wants to start over again.
I always wish they did a third Tim Burton Batman movie, to be honest, before they ever actually did.
Burton didn't want to do it.
Well,
because he was in a way, yes, he was stifled for what he wanted to do. He only got to really do what he wanted to do for his first movie. Then he had another idea for what he was going to do with the second movie, but it was going to be a little bit more in a horror vein. And WB said they didn't want that because they couldn't sell toys if it was scary. And they told him he had to do it a certain way. And that's why we got that more whimsical second movie, was he said, fine, if you're going to tell me I have to do it a certain way, then I'm going to do it my way. And that didn't make WB happy. So they pushed him out. And that's why we got Schumacher Batmans.
By the way, I like that third one. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the Cavill topic for right now because I got some other questions in the chat.
Well, I was also going to say the same thing with Andrew Garfield. It's the third Spider-Man movie that never happened either.
Yeah, but that wasn't WB. That's an entirely different company.
Well,
I'm saying the same circumstances.
There was a once in a generation chance at that deal with Marvel that they just took, and it just so happened that Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do as well as they wanted it to do, and they had it. It was a unique opportunity that you really, no other situation can be compared to that. So yeah, and then like I said, we ended up getting another movie with Garfield in it. Who knows? So these companies are fickle, but what we also got to be careful is to understand that where we are now. And that's what I'm trying to do myself. I'm trying to cleanse my head of the mismanaged past in order to embrace a possibly positive future. And so I'm going to give these guys the benefit of the doubt until it's time for me not to, until they screw me and I don't get Superman, or I don't get a Cavill, or I don't get what they've hinted at or whatever, until they've come out and said that there's going to be something and then it's not there. They get my benefit of the doubt. The original regime had my benefit of the doubt until they fucked it up. So right now, these guys are in a special place in my heart because they haven't fucked up yet. And trust me, if they do, be all over them. But right now, we have no evidence that these guys aren't what they say they are. So it's a good time to be happy about this.
That's why I always said it was a mistake to get Kevin Tsuchihara and Toby Emmerich involved. They should have never done.
No, let's go back even further. It was a mistake to hire Kevin Tsuchihara in that job because remember,
that's what I'm saying.
Space. Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine if Jeff Robinoff had got that job? Who was supposed to get that job, but had gotten that, where we would be?
Yeah.
We may not even be together right now because the whole.
And they should have never gotten rid of Greg Silverman either.
Yeah, there's a whole list of people there's a litany of people that just was like sad. So, all right, guys. So we are putting the coffin. Get it? Coffin. Death of Superman. Coffin lid on Superman. That was horrible. So all right, Film Gob, thanks for coming on, man. I've got to.
All right, thanks, man.
And I might do a stream tomorrow night because and it'll be just an open calling because if I just want to talk. I want other people to run their mouths because my throat gets dry. So I might see you tomorrow. All right, man.
All right, man.
All right. Stella, you can hang around if you want to, but I'm done. I'm done with the MILF. I'm done with your MILF with the red S, or your MILF magnet with the red S. All right. So let me ask because this is a good question I've been staring at for a while. All right, Chabby, do you think it's possible that we might get an Alien Covenant sequel, Alien Awakening, despite there being a separate Alien movie in development? But I personally just want to see the end of David's story. Yeah, I think so. Okay, here's what I think could happen with that. And I've been thinking about this a while. Is I think that Ridley Scott is because he's still the guy in charge of all this alien stuff. He's still the one that is doing it and in charge of the people under him. I think he's going to find a way to interweave what he did not get a chance to do on cinema into whatever is coming. It might not be in the exact form. I think you're going to see the David R. I mean, I think you're going to see him because he's in control of it all still, which is good. It's not like it's a bunch of other people, taking it. It's Ridley Scott is executive producing and improving the scripts and all that on it. So there's a chance. I would say a 40% chance because I want to see that too. And I want to not just David. I want to see, where the engineers are doing. I want to see that split between the engineers. I hate when things like that are left like that, especially when they were good. I mean, if it sucked, I would be like, you know what, Howard the Duck level. I don't need a Howard the Duck 2 because Howard the Duck 1 sucked. But I loved Prometheus. Prometheus is one of my favorite science fiction movies. It is one of my favorite Ridley Scott works. But it was a cerebral movie at a time where people just wanted Roland Emmerich, Pop-Tart movies. So there you go. All right. The red wave is more relevant to Snyder Bros. Are you just fucking with me tonight, Jeeves?
Well, now he's colonizer.
Now we're bringing the Beastie Boys in on it. All right. Yes, MJF is champion. This is a good move. I hope they've signed this guy for a long time. He is great. He's great on the mic. He's great with the crowd. I think he can be a heel and a face if he wants him to. I think he could be an anti-hero. I think he could straddle, and he's only 26 years old. And I think it was the best thing that they did to work this angle that they did with him. With the only thing that's missing right now is Tony, if you're still watching, CM Punk's out there, man. I got to see that match. That pay-per-view buy would be massive. The ratings for Rampage and Dynamite would be massive. Just them being, even if he's not ready to wrestle, say it's not going to happen for a couple months now, and just keep screwing around with it and keep having Punk come out and sit at the commentator's table just to screw with people. And guess what? Even if you're injured, you can. It's we know it's fake. He's not taking bumps for real. Have him. You have chair shots and screw with people and distract people. Have him visiting MJF as well. I mean, you work this, man. The situation is like somebody leaving a bag of money, no strings attached, on your porch, man. Like I said, you're still selling CM Punk shirts, a lot of CM Punk shirts. You're still selling, CM Punk figures, the wristbands. You're still making money off of CM Punk. Why not make all the money? MJF and CM Punk, man. Just thinking about it now is taking me back to my 14-year-old self. And I was a pretty crazy wrestling fan at 14. That was when we knew it wasn't, we knew it wasn't real, but we still respected it. But we still wanted certain outcomes. And when we didn't get those outcomes, we were like, you know what? Fuck, man. Calling the 9-800 numbers, running up my damn parents' telephone bill because we didn't have the internet then. So, yeah, MJF, dude, Tony, do it, man. Do it. I need to hear Cult of Personality. Yeah. All right. Oh, jeez. Okay.
He's talking about Man of Steel too.
Hey, that would be great, but who knows? Like I said, I am just in that headspace now that I don't know.
Well, look,
and I know, you know what? Not only do I not know, I know nobody else knows.
Personally, I don't want that movie to be rushed. I really don't.
And like I said,
they gotta get the right movie, the right script. It's gonna take a while, but Henry freed up his schedule. That's all I have to say.
And plus, we got to see how. I just need, personally, in order to really, I need to see what they're doing with these movies that they're coming out. Because, like I said, when these movies were made, it was a different world than the one that they walked into. So
they have to see what's salvageable from the old regime that they greenlit, and you know they pushed through things that they shouldn't have greenlit, like Batgirl. Yeah. So
Wonder Twins, that was what happened.
Oh God, Wonder Twins.
Wonder Twins.
Why are people been so hard on the previous guys? They greenlit Wonder Twin. They were going to have Gleek the damn monkey with a bucket of water and some pets instead of Batman, Superman. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah. All right, Daniel Martin. Did Dwayne Johnson say the script for Black Adam 2 is done, or did someone else? Someone else said that. Someone else said that. He might have an idea in his head, but I haven't heard that. At least I haven't. I haven't seen that anywhere. They might have. A lot of these guys have these stories in their head. But I think that Dwayne Johnson even knew. Listen, before we knew that Safran and Gunn were going to be the guys, they knew they were going to be the guys probably months in advance. Yeah, and everybody involved. That's why when people were saying,
and I would like to point out on Brodan's show, I said months ago, nearly a year ago now, that James Gunn would take that job.
Don't ever bring up Brodan's name on here. No, I'm just kidding. But like I said, people were like, saying, well, Dwayne Johnson's mad because he wanted to hire him, to be in there. I'm like, just when we hear this stuff, like I said, we're the ants on the ground eating everybody's leftover information. This is already in place and already in motion months in advance. It's like, it's like,
remember how everyone was whining at San Diego Comic-Con? Oh, we didn't get an announcement. Where's Henry Cavill? He should be here. No.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay, G.
All of this was going on in the background. Yeah. Just be patient, people. There's nothing wrong with being patient and hearing it from reliable primary sources, not some. Forgive me. Yes, these are the express thoughts of Stella Baxter.
No names, just don't bring up any names.
But all the scoopers and the grifters that are just taking your money because they like to lie to like I said, I don't mind people doing a side job to pad their coffers, but the way they do it, I have issue with. And lying is one of the things I don't like. Feeding misinformation, I don't like. And that goes for
tasty
anything.
misinformation. Tasty
I'm going to give my
misinformation.
this is the official Sci-Fi Center live position on Scoopers. I just don't listen to you. And I know
I don't either.
If there's guys out there putting stuff out there that's not true, I don't blame the scooper. I'm sorry. Misinformation only fits in the brain that allows it.
I touched a scooper once. They were kind of slimy.
Okay.
Anthony's backstage, but I'm trying to figure out what he's asking in the chat.
Oh, we're only got about a half hour to go though. What's the so yeah, my official thing on scoopers is that, you know what, I don't have any issues with any scooper, to be honest with you. I know we have people in our circles that have issues with people.
That's just it. It's like, if you want to be a journalist, do what you're supposed to do. Tell the truth, pursue the truth, give out good information. But not make up stuff that you pull it out of your what and expect everyone to go fawn over you. No.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing about that though. If they put something out, the consumer has the option to just not look at it or move on. And where I have an issue with like this whole scooper war thing, like I said, we're not going to go into the specifics.
Yeah.
I am never going to get angry over what a scooper posts. I either believe it or I don't. If someone else does, I'm like, listen, if somebody else believes in Santa Claus and they're rolling into their 50s, have fun waiting with the milk and cookies on Christmas Eve. I'm not going to tell you not to believe that Santa Claus is coming. If somebody posts that giant meteorite the size of Vegas is hitting, and I look, at the credible sources and it's not, I'm not going to not. I need the people who are consuming this information to make their own decision. I think people go after scoopers, but what they really need to go after, if they have a problem with people falling for misinformation, all you can do is tell the people who are consuming it to be smarter. And really, we don't need to even say that. Like I said, if you want to believe in the Easter Bunny is going to hop down your fucking porch with a bunch of eggs and chocolate, and there's no reason for you to believe that, I'm going to let you believe it, unless you're going to be in a danger to me. Like if you think that trees don't burn or something, and you're out lighting your front yard, I'm going to stop you. But if it's just things like this, fandom and pop culture, I'm going to let the scoopers post whatever the hell they want to.
But William, the trees do burn.
Exactly. But it's and I understand. Like I said, we all know who we have in our circles. Like I said, I'm not going to bring up any
names. The leprechaun tells me to burn things.
We all have people. You don't have to. Guys out there are everybody who's watching this and right now, and everybody who's going to watch it in the future, because most of our views come from after the show is done. You do not have to respond to anything.
I think part of the problem, William, honestly, I think
you don't have to respond to it. How hard is it not to respond? How hard is it not to? You don't have to do this. You do whatever you want to with this. You choose to respond to what someone posts. Whose problem is that?
Fourth says something in the chat, and I kind of somewhat agree with him, sort of.
Yeah.
It says, I disagree. Normies who aren't as involved in scoop news are easily susceptible to the lies. That's where I get a problem with it. But I also get what you're saying. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I know something's coming. It's coming. All right.
Well, whose fault is it that they're susceptible to the lies? At any level.
The people that believe the lies.
Exactly.
That seek the lies. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, I can't blame if Joe Smo posts that Superman is coming out tomorrow. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Superman's coming out tomorrow. I'm not. That's silly. I'm not going to type one letter in his post. I'm not going to share his post.
I'll just look at it, disregard it, go, good luck.
I'm gonna look at it and laugh. But what happens is, what I've seen lately is I've seen people go after each other because they felt compelled to respond to things that you really don't need to. You chose to respond to that.
Exactly.
So how can I blame, whoever is allegedly or whatever is putting out certain information? I know that the sky is blue. I know that the clouds float. I know we revolve around the sun. I know that Christmas is on December 25th. I know Thanksgiving is on a Thursday. I know this. Nothing anyone can post is going to mean anything to me. And if there are people who think Thanksgiving is on a Wednesday, sorry. I hope you still get a chance to eat.
Maybe
Try,
their
Anthony.
Thanksgiving is on a Wednesday.
Yeah, but I think the response to these things is what causes a good majority of
William, Anthony Manzano wants us to answer
A
if
question,
James Gunn and
or
Safran
bring him
can't,
on.
or bring him
Bring
on
him
because
on.
he's still in the back.
No, he's not anymore.
Oh, he's not. Okay.
Come
Well,
back
anyway,
in, Anthony, if you want.
he wants this question.
Come back, Anthony.
Well, yeah, go ahead and come back, Anthony. Go ahead and come back and ask your question.
Yeah.
This fucking microphone. Come on. All right, there we go.
Freaking microphone.
Oh, now I got fourth too. So.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Yay, fourth.
Oh, you were like me.
What up, Fourth?
Let me turn my TV down when I'm in my office.
What up, Fourth?
Fourth.
What's up, dude? You're echoing.
There, I got it.
Yay.
All right. All right, Anthony, go ahead and ask your question, and then I'm gonna go to fourth. Go ahead.
Okay, what I was gonna ask, if Gunn, let's say that all these rumors from these scoopers aren't true, that Gunn and Safran didn't really re-sign Cavill to do a Man of Steel 2. Was that character, that Superman specifically, created with Henry Cavill in mind, or could another actor play that Superman?
All right, I'll answer this. Theoretically, yes. Is it likely? No. Theoretically, yes. Anything that's technically that could happen. Is it likely? No. For a lot of the reasons I just said, simply because of the relevancy that you have a Superman now, and they don't have the time. Be honest with you, whenever you take over a legacy character like this, especially one that's been around as long, the very first superhero, all right, you can announce a project, and once you start filming a project and doing it, that's all fine and good. It's the embracement of that character over time. It takes years for people to embrace a new version of a legacy character. So if you were to announce a brand new Superman tomorrow, and you were saying, we're going to put out a movie with Thade is going to be Superman, right? And,
not bloody likely.
But I'm just throwing the name out there. But Thade's Superman, right? You got a good 3 to 5 years before the people who have a death grip on whatever Superman they are emotionally invested to loosen that death grip on and able to embrace another Superman. So you're talking about having the difference between a Superman that is existing and already has the brand loyalty and has already gone through all that, and introducing another Superman that's going to set you back.
No, William, let me clarify what I'm saying. They're keeping the Man of Steel character, but they couldn't re-sign Cavill to do it. Could another actor do that, or was that Superman, that Man of Steel character, created with Henry Cavill in mind?
Let me say something here really quick.
If another actor could carry on the same storyline that he would inherit from Henry Cavill, is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay, no, I don't think so. I don't think they would. I don't think they would. Okay, now I understand your question. Yeah.
Often, let me add this really quick.
That he was the most. That's what tells me, like I said, just in my gut, that there's not going to be a reboot simply because he was the most important chess piece on the table. And when they got him, that told me, in my opinion, that there's not going to be a reboot. But go ahead, Thade.
Let me answer something here really quick. Often, when they recast a character in a movie, it doesn't work very well. When like William was saying earlier, when people have been used to having a certain person play that character, it gets hard to accept a reboot. This is why we've had or a recast. This is why we've had such a problem with Batman since the 90s. There's been so many guys that have played Batman over the years that people get kind of thrown off. People are like, well, do these Batman movies go with these Batman movies? And I'm talking about the normies when I'm talking here. Like the normies go, well, do these movies count with these movies? And there's a lot of confusion. So
yeah,
do
I'm
I
asking
think?
this from a normie perspective. I'm asking this question from a normie because I'm not into the comics like you guys are. So
Right.
It's still Anthony. It's is it Anthony? Or?
Yeah, it's Anthony Mazzano.
I
Yeah.
got so many faces on you. Anthony, even if it's not a normie, okay, so even if it's not a guy that's a total head to toe geek like me, the general audience still has tendencies that they gravitate to. They may not do it on the detailed, not healthy level that I do, but they still recognize. There's still brand recognition when it comes to normies. So it would actually a director and producer, if it wasn't Cavill, they wouldn't. They know that that would cause brand confusion, and they would move on in a different direction.
In
That's
fact,
why-
William, you could argue that normies would be even more confused because again, they don't know the storylines like we do. They don't know that this group of movies, say the Nolan movies, don't connect to the original movies from the 90s. And I've actually had people ask me that. I've had people go, "Well, do these Christopher Nolan movies connect to the stuff that back in '89 or early '90s or whatever?" And I said, "No."
The Batman. I had so many people coming up to me asking me where was Ben Affleck. And I'm like, oh, I didn't right now. Email me, people. But did that answer? Did I do a better job there, Anthony, answering that for you?
yeah, no. Thank you for clarifying that because
Okay.
I have a group of me and my friends don't read comics and stuff like that, and I was okay with them I would be okay with them recap. I understand in the general, for the general public it would be hard, but if it's a business, let's say it's a business issue. Let's say they couldn't. How would that work then? Like let's say hypothetically they couldn't re-sign Cavill to another contract, what would happen then? Would they
Then
just
they
cancel
would.
that?
They would restart. Then they would reboot. Then you would have
Yeah.
to. As much as I hate that word, if you've listened to me long enough, that reboot is a synonym for stupid. But if they did not have another option, if Cavill was off the table, no director or producer would continue along the lines of the movies that he was not in. They would use that as an opportunity. Huh? They would recast. They would recast.
I think they might recast.
I think they would start their own thing, though. I don't think they would. I think a brand new
They
director.
can't do the Man of Steel without Cavill, is what you're saying.
I think the brand. I think that here's another thing is especially if you got another director or producer, they're not going to want to. That would be suicide for them because they're already going to be dealing with the fact that they're restarting and going to have to build brand loyalty with a new Superman, a different Superman to begin with, actor wise. They're not going to want to inherit the weight of someone else's story with that. Now it's different.
Just take a look with Shazam and Peacemaker, the headless Superman that we've had, or the faceless Superman we have. How many people, the normies, were crying out, "Where's Henry Cavill? Why don't we see him?"
Where's Superman's head in general?
Where's Superman's head? Where's Superman's face?
Yeah.
We already identify Superman currently, as Henry Cavill.
I remember all the diehards telling me that I should have been grateful for that.
It's so confusing because I've always thought that it would be easy to recast a character like the Man of Steel Superman that Cavill played. Now, since you guys explained it to me, it's a lot easier to understand. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. All right, Forrest, what's up, man? Looking like Chuck D in the dark there, man. Look at that.
Oh, holy Chuck D's a handsome dude, but
Chuck D, Public Enemy?
Oh,
you're young. How old are you?
I don't really have a full mental picture of him, but I've probably seen him.
Flavor Flav? Clock around his neck? The Viking hat?
I was just here to jump on and add to the conversation. As far as normies go, like my dad, he goes and watches every Batman movie just because he knows the character. And he too was wondering if Ben Affleck was going to be in the Batman.
Yeah.
And, there is definitely some brand confusion now that we have dual
Pattinson.
Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, William, we've got another good question there at the bottom that we could use for a debate at this point. It's a Darshan Pericula. Sorry about butchering your name there, buddy, but
yeah.
So
just usually me butchering the name, but let me answer this one first because I've had this question asked to me before. All right, just consider this for a second. What if David Zaslav doesn't like the Bible James Gunn and Safran made? Here's why I think that although that is a possibility that could happen, that there's little possibility that would happen, simply because when he sat these guys down and laid out what he wanted, that was part of the hiring process for them. The agreement that those three men got up at that table with, he sized them up, and he gave them what his parameters were. He basically said, I want this and this and this, and these are my priorities.
And he also has a backup, a question that also goes with this too. It's just right under it.
Hold on, let me finish that with this one. But I think that the portion that you're talking about now, I think that that got handled when they sat down and they quizzed each other and said, what do you want from us? And he says, this is what I want from you. And they agreed. I don't think you're going to have that issue. And that's what good management does. You lay out your parameters first. You don't do it in the middle or, some of the games. So I don't think they would have the job if they weren't on the same page.
And think of what you would do in your own work situation. You would want to work with like-minded people, not the ones that go directly against you unless you're really a masochist.
Well, if I hire you, like I said, if I hire you and I eat a certain type of food every day, the first question I'm going to ask you, hey, chef, can you make this type of food? Are you willing to make this type of food every day? If the answer is no, then you're not. The meeting's over. So I think that the process to get these guys in will probably cover a lot. But just in case, if he did have an issue, I don't think it would be a deal stopper. I think he would ask them to make adjustments, and good people make adjustments all the time. I'm going to ask you the second part here, and consider this also. What if they decided to make Pattinson the main DCU Batman? Can you imagine the chaos? I can imagine it. I don't think they would do it, and here's why. Zaslav, from what I've heard him say, I'm not in the office, obviously. And from what you can understand about shared universes, he's about making money and maximizing the IP. You cannot do that with the Batman. First, and another thing, obviously, the obvious thing is Matt Reeves didn't design that character to fit into to be a cog in anybody's universe. He specifically designed his character not to be that way. But that notwithstanding, is you cannot draw the revenue with the type of character that the Batman is that they want. They need a Batman that fits and interacts with the universe. If you look at my comic book shelf right now, the way Batman is written and when he's around other superheroes like Justice League or anything like that, is differently than he's written in Detective Comics and Batman Comics or Batman Black Label, Batman Catwoman. It's different because different things and different dynamics apply. So I don't think that would ever happen because of his own statements and where he holds the shared universe as a priority. So I don't think you can imagine. I can imagine anything. Like I said, Elon Musk owns Twitter, but likelihood, I don't think that would happen for those reasons.
Do you think anything special is going to happen with the Robert Pattinson and I don't even know if Ben Affleck's coming back, but the two Batmans and are they going to both be in theaters, or do you think Robert Pattinson will go to HBO Max or what?
No, I think that they will. Here's the thing that they got to do, and I think James Gunn is the perfect guy for this. This is why a lot of the questions that come up, I can feel relaxed about because I think they got the right guy doing it. Is when you do your brand loyalty and your brand identification, you make sure that people know. They didn't do a good job when the Batman came out. We didn't know what was going on with that. We didn't know. But right now, with the horse's mouth talking, he could easily explain that this Batman is here and this Batman is there. I think that Pattinson's going to get Reeves are going to get their 2 movies. They're going to get their trilogy. And if the opportunity is there, then I think Ben Affleck will get his movies. I don't think either one of them will hurt each other as long as it's incumbent upon the film studio and the filmmakers and the executives to make sure that your audience knows what we're feeding you. All right. If there's a gap, when I got people walking up to me wondering why Ben Affleck wasn't in the Batman, that's the studio's fault. That's their mistake. But you can undo that mistake by being forthcoming, saying this Batman is in a different reality. It's real quick, and this Batman works with the Justice League. That's it. It's a real simple it's a real simple explanation, and like I said, I think that these are the guys to do it. All right, so what do we got in the chat? So we got it's 11:47 right now, so we are all right. So yeah, it's 11:47, so we got about 13 minutes to go. So I think we MT. I'll bring in MT. Are you full or are you empty? How you doing, empty?
Hey, what's going on, William? This is Mark Terry. How's it going? You remember me?
Hey, what's going on, movie maker, man?
Hey, I'm a filmmaker, obviously. Just wanted to say what's up. Now, I don't know what the subject is tonight, but it's been a number of years since William and I have caught up. I had some films play at the Sci-Fi Center in the past, back in 2009 when you were behind the Sahara.
Yeah, I'm actually there now again. I'm actually
You're back.
Out.
You're back. That was going to be one of my questions for you. So you're not over near the Orleans and Valley View anymore?
Nah, once the Raiders opened up there, the prices of everything around there just shot up, and it just wasn't sustainable. So
I'll tell you what, I was over there not too long ago. I was thinking about you. I was buying a Byrna, one of those launcher guns, and I was right by where your old place was. And yeah, you could see everything's gotten out of control there, price-wise.
And a little guy like me had no shot. And then the landlord who owned this building literally invited me back once he knew my lease was up, because he was going in a different direction here, and it just fit this time around. So I've been here for almost 5 years now.
So you're back where Charleston's at, right? Was it Charleston? No, Sahara.
Sahara,
yeah.
Maryland. Sahara.
Okay, but I know. Yeah, same area. That's where you were at back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Live Evil, man. I remember doing Live Evil. I got an autographed copy on my shelf.
Here's what you don't know. I'm not trying to self-promote too much, but I'm going to tell you this. Over the last 5 years, I have rescanned the entire negative. We shot 16 more days, and we did, for lack of a better term, a Snyder cut of it. It's going to come out again as Samurai Priest Vampire Hunter. It looks like Creepshow. We made 100 comic book panels for it. We added in every scene, and we deleted a ton. I redirected the entire movie. It's about to re-release, I think, within the next year. It's just a matter of finding a distributor now. So it was
okay. So
go ahead.
I have a question for you, sir.
About distributors.
Hold on, before anybody goes, Mark, we need to talk about this, because I got driving capabilities, man. We're different than we were then.
Yeah, I mean, that was back in the day. Don't forget, it only released in standard definition via Warner Brothers and Netflix back then. So all those deals are up. This is our Snyder cut of the movie. It's much better than it was before. Like, we slaughtered that old movie.
So is this a horror movie you're speaking about?
So this is a film it was called Live Evil. It's on Wikipedia. Now we're calling it Samurai Priest Vampire Hunter. I've actually never really talked about it publicly, except for a Filmmaker magazine article I wrote. But it was Tim Thomerson's last leading role before he retired, and it also stars the genre legend Ken Foray from Dawn of the Dead. So it's an action vampire film. And we debuted it at the Sci-Fi Center in 2008, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a screening there. There was also a place at the Palms called Trinity of Terror. It was one of the few Fangoria conventions that came there. So we did that all the same weekend with William, and then I think I did another film there with him later, a couple years later, and then, like screenings, and then that was it. So I kind of lost touch with him because I only come into Vegas every so often. So you guys are horror movie fans. I mean, I'm sure you know who Ken Foray is.
Oh, of course. Of course I know who Ken Foray is.
Ken Foray, we had a bunch of porn chicks in it. And I got a quick little story
why I asked you, sir, is
there it is. Look at him.
I'm launching a YouTube channel that's going to be based on horror, and I would offer a review from my YouTube channel for your movie if you think it'll help the signal boost.
I mean, I think it would. Here's what I'm dealing with right now. I mean, yes, I mean he's got the copy of the old version in his hand.
I'm so happy to hear from you. These are good. These are the before we de-getified the Sci-Fi Center. We did a lot of stuff that was literally.
Let me see the cover of that. Let me see the cover of that movie there, William.
Now that's the old version in standard definition.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone insulted me right back in those days. They thought they were insulting me, but they gave me the greatest compliment. I think they said that the Sci-Fi Center was like their old drunk uncle's basement, and I don't cry much, but I literally put that on cards and stuff for like.
Who said that? I said that.
No, it was a customer that came in and saw like Ichi the Killer or something.
Ichi the Killer. Okay, yeah. I mean, that was a great place. I have a photograph to this day because it was around Halloween time of me signing autographs at your old one that was near that gay bathhouse that was right around the corner. I don't know if you remember that location.
Yeah, it's right. I can see it from here.
Okay, you're not too far. But yeah, I mean,
you shot your movie on 16, or you did digital and you're scanning to 16?
So we shot it on Super 16. There was some 35. We scanned it on what's called a scan station. What we did is we kind of did it backwards, where we scanned all 20 hours of the negative and then started a fresh new cut, new music, new visual effects. Like, our movie got kind of banned for having a baby vampire, right? So we did a new
I
baby
remember that.
vampire scene,
Oh,
all that
God.
craziness, but we had to scan every ounce of it to be able to make a new cut because it was so underexposed. We couldn't tell. So we started finding, William, other takes that were actually better. And so that changed the entire cut.
I must see this movie.
Yeah. So
so where's it going to be available, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, right now we just started shopping it at the American Film Market. We finally, finished the 5-1. The pandemic slowed us up. Nobody wanted to come out and do ADR
obviously.
But that also helped us too because we got to shoot 16 more days. But the idea is, I would love it to be on a Shutter. I would love it to be on, like a Screenbox.
Because you have Screenbox, Shutter, and Full Moon. You could try to shop it too.
We've dealt with Charles Band. He doesn't deal with any advances. In fact, Tim Thomerson told me in 2009, don't ever give anything to Charlie because he'll never fucking pay you. But Screenbox, which is owned by Cinedyne.
Talking if this guy's still alive.
Thomerson's like in his late 70s now, but Cinedyne owns Screenbox and Shutter is by AMC. Shutter's really hard to get a hold of. I have talked to the guys over at Vinegar Syndrome. There could be potentially something there for a Blu-ray. I don't know, but it's just a matter of finding the right deal. A lot of people, William, and this is the difference now between back then, they just want us to put it on AVOD everywhere. Just splash it out on Tubi. And I don't want to do that after all the work we did to restore it. Yeah. Which advertising video on demand, like all those free shitty channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a new film, so I would like to bring it. Like, did you guys see Terrifier 2 that came out?
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to unsee that movie. That movie fucked me up.
Dude, that movie was brutal.
Oh my god.
So I know the theatrical distributor of that, and the guy who repped that film is repping our film now. And man, I'd love to do something like that. And have
you thought about doing one of the festivals, like Fantasy Fest or anything like that? Because that's where they did Terrifier 2.
Here's why I don't want to do. Here's what I'm running into. It's a Snyder cut, but people are like, but it's an old film. But it's not, because it's not even the same film, but it's 16 new days. It's not like the old movie. It's a road trip movie, by the way, if you've never seen it. It follows the vampires, and this guy is on their tail. Now it follows the slayers that are chasing these vampires. So it's a different attitude of the movie. So it's hard to explain. And the only thing I could say is it's like a Snyder cut. But that makes me sound like an asshole.
It's your director's cut. It's your director's cut.
Your B movie?
B movie, yeah. B movie, The Shooting of Farmhouse Massacre.
Yeah, and I asked you for it, and you're like, why do you want that? I'm like, I want to watch it. And you're like, okay. And you sent it to me.
And we had a screening there of that too.
I asked to see it.
Remember, we had a screening of B Movie, one of my first movies I did in 2002. I think 3 people showed up, and at the end, you're usually standing outside, and you're going to maybe sell a disc or two, and they're like, "No, we're good."
You gave me permission to screen that. I had people there, dude.
You got people there. Actually, that was on a Halloween too. That was later, but just a lot of fun memories, and that's a really good group there in Vegas. But to answer the question about film festivals, I'm running into, well, this is an old film and this and that. I just wanted it to explode and come out. I didn't want to go through the film festival circuit again, but I would be open to it. But we're already knee deep in distribution. I've talked to virtually everybody.
How difficult is it to get into a AFM? And are there a lot of people there trying to sell you bunk distribution deals where they won't?
Well, I was there at AFM, but. At this point, I've been doing it for 20 plus years. I know who's legit and who's not, but I always kind of akin it to this. Is it Fourth 1000, right? Is that how you say it? Okay, so Fourth, listen to this. I used to find golf balls on the golf course, and I would take them to a flea market and sell them. So that's what I akin the American film market to. People at the market are there to sell their films. Now, I got one thing I'm selling. I'm selling golf balls to people who are trying to do business, selling their films, their catalog films, to people in the international world. So you can go there and set up meetings, but it's hard without an agent. So I have an agent, but that agent was mostly focusing on what we call SVOD, subscription video on demand, like Netflix and Shudder and those kind of things. So I didn't have an international agent. So the meetings I was taking, I'm kind of like going into the flea market selling my golf balls to people who are trying to sell what they got going. So I don't know if that's the best way I can explain it. It's a weird scenario when you're one dude selling one film. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude,
yeah.
We were on IMDb for that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's on IMDb. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is dude.
Yeah, and you know what? I think in the new credits, I don't know. I have to go back and check it, but I think I might have put you guys in a credit.
I am.
too, the
I'm in it. I'm
Yeah.
in IMDb. I didn't know it all these years, dude.
Yep, I did that. So, anyways, I just wanted to catch up with you because next time I'm in Vegas, I'm gonna have to swing by there.
Just one more
Yeah,
question.
Hey, if you guys,
You're
if you get this movie on any of the streamers, let us know through William.
Okay.
So I can set up that review on my
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
I would love to do it because we had one group called.
And in fact, when I do my review for your movie, I would actually like to have you on.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I could do that. We have a thing that's called. I mean, I would do it. Yes, but I want it to sell first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously.
But I don't know. Are you familiar with Bloodbath and Beyond?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they reviewed it a number of years ago, and I guess they got in some kind of trouble on YouTube. I don't know what the whole deal is, but they did the old version of the movie, and they just looked at it, and I never forget their words. They said, this could be phenomenal if somebody just cut this together right, and it didn't drag. And everything they said, every review I've been reading out there for the last 15 years or whatever it's been, 12 years, I took, if it was a consensus, like this actor sucks or this is slow, now I had everybody's insight. And that's how I was able to change it too. So I took everybody's advice and made it better based off that and then shot more. So I don't know if anybody's ever done a movie like that where I like did it backwards like that. You know, it's very weird. But anyway,
man,
what was that for? What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, first I want to say congrats. I love the fact that people are shooting on 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, is it cheaper or competitively priced to shooting and finalizing in 4K digital?
So when you scan, so don't forget, this was shot in 2006, 2007. The pickup shots that we shot on 6K, a Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. And we were able to kind of, you know, because they weren't real long scenes, degrain them, degenerate them. Scanning 16 millimeter, you can only scan 16. Oh, there you go, right in front of me. Blackmagic Pocket 6K is perfect for this. 16 millimeter only scans at 2K. 35 scans at 4K. So ours is a 2K master. Now you could do a shitty up-res, but it's not going to look right. So here would be my suggestion to you. I mean, it sounds like you're a filmmaker. I would not suggest shooting on 16 in this day and age. No way. First of all, it's more expensive now. The cameras and it's hard to light it. It's all our biggest problem was underexposure.
Gotcha.
You know, so you're going to have all these problems. Then you got to go back and scan it. You can get a lot more out of that Blackmagic Pocket 6K or a cheap red than you can an old Eclair like we shot on.
Right.
So that would and people are having the attitude like these younger people, like you guys are genre films. You guys are around my age, so you get the Rob Zombie films, you get the grit and the 16 millimeters. But people are like, that looks like it's from the 70s. Ugh, what year was that filmed in? So
yeah, I like that. I like that grindhouse aesthetic. Though.
Yeah, and some people do, but it's just like if you go to Netflix now, they're like, ugh. You know what I mean? So I mean, but if he has a sharp new film, then that's kind of different. Like Terrifier, although I don't think it's very sharp, the first film, it's kind of gritty itself, but it looks more modern than what we did in 2008, 7. You know what I mean?
Dude, I cannot believe that it's been almost 15 years. This time flies, and to give anybody the idea just how long I've been at this thing, wow, holy shit.
Remember when
William, I got the
Go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, remember when we were going to have that porn chick there and she no-showed us for that signing?
Oh, who is that? Oh,
Jenny Hendricks.
Yeah, man. We had people there for her.
So here's what happened, guys. We were going to do another quick little signing because what I do is I hire porn actresses and we bring them in the film. Then I go to the AVNs and XBiz and, you know, I get a little press on them. They don't really have much of a role, but she wanted to do a signing at Williams Place in Sci-Fi Center. So we set it up. We promoted it. I had a shitload of orders from Amazon.
I still have the posters for both.
Yeah, and Williams Saraport, he's making fucking posters and all this kind of stuff. She no-shows it. Flaky ass bitch. No-showed the shit. But here's the thing. If it wasn't for that little thing, I wouldn't have had that order of 150 from Amazon the next couple days. You know what I mean? Like we got a fairly large order just based off that press. You know what I mean? 150 doesn't sound like a lot, but when DVDs were dying, it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh
When
yeah.
they make the movie about my life, all the shit that we've done, all the stuff that we were doing back then, dude.
Wasn't she hanging out there with you afterwards, like being part of some of those Rocky Horror Picture Shows and stuff?
Yeah, dude. Wow, that was a wild time. Like right now, what I do is tame as compared to what we were doing.
Yeah, you guys are doing all kinds of crazy shit. And then what about wasn't Albert Pune in there? I heard he's really in bad health now. You know who he is?
No, he no-showed us.
He no-showed you too?
Yeah, well, he was looking at our place, and then he ended up choosing, I think, Theater 7 when it was open.
Oh, Theater 7. Okay.
Yeah, and he chose them for whatever reason.
Now, I had a screening of a film there called The Meltdown. It was an opening scene for something that I wanted to do. It's only like 11 minutes, but that Theater 7, what happened to that place? Because that was near me.
Chad moved to the Midwest, and that was the end of all that.
Oh, you talk about Chad Freeman.
Yeah, that was him and Derek.
I got a little story about Chad for you. I think you're going to laugh at this. He had some Michael Jackson playing cards, right? They were like baseball cards from like the 1970s, and he was real proud of him. And him and I kept in contact, and he was showing them off. And I was just joking with him, but I'm like, "Hey man, happy birthday! Congratulations on your pedophile playing cards." He fucking blocked me. Never heard from him again. That was just a joke. I mean, I was joking with him.
Mark Terry or not? I haven't seen Chad since 2011, and he moved. He got married and moved to the Midwest, and the guy that was backing him is still here in town, but that went away. Like I said, there's so many places that have come and gone since I've been around.
Like that place that's near the El Cortez that was on the corner. That was supposed to be something that disappeared.
It's the funniest thing about it is they always tell everybody comes in, because everything I do, I build by hand. I don't, there's nothing manufactured at the Sci-Fi Theater. My broke ass built everything by hand. And when I give you guys a tour, you're going to see, and Mark, everything that you saw there was built by me. But I was always get compared to these people that had a lot more money than me and that had this and that had that and much nicer. Why would you go to the Sci-Fi Center? It's a dump and all this. And then they're all out of business.
Yep.
And I'm not wishing them, wishing another business owner went out of business, but I was always being compared to these glitzy places. Then they would disappear the next year. And here I am. It's 2023. And I'm here with the cockroaches. It's going to take a nuclear.
You're still, I mean, do you remember that Fangoria Trinity of Terrors at the Palms? Like that was supposed to be the big thing. And we were going to have a screening there and at your place. And I remember Chad was like, "Man, so you're not going to do ours?" I was like, "No, we're going to do both." So we were in the Brendan Theaters at the Palms one night. We had more people than Bruce Campbell, by the way. We outdrew his ass, and I like him. He's a nice guy, but we beat him that night. Then the next night we came over to the Sci-Fi Center, and I think we beat the next film.
Yeah, because that place.
We had a pretty solid crowd, and that was on like Halloween Eve, if I'm not mistaken.
We did, and I have all the posters. I kept every poster we did for everything we did, and I still have them here. And I look at them.
Come out there.
Yeah, I still have yours here. Terror and all these things that we did. We had all these independent filmmakers that would come out, and Rachel Grubb, all these guys would come out, and like I said, they would get all these no's. I mean, no, your movies doesn't fit ours. It's too grimy, too grounded. It's not what we want to show. And I'm like, come on down.
This is like memory lane. I'm not trying to take over this cast, but I got so many questions. Like, whatever happened to Sean Kane? Do you know what happened to him?
He's still around. He's still making movies. I haven't seen him in years, but
okay. Do you know what happened with me and him?
No. Am I going to get in trouble for?
No, not at all. So the girl that I used to date when I was one of the producers of My Live Evil, Sean Kane worked on that film. They met on my film. She was dating me at the time. She ended up going with him, cheating behind my back cheating on me with him. She's married to him now. They had a kid.
Hey, all's well in it. Well, I guess.
Better him than me. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, those are some crazy. It would be like the disco, the Studio 54 era equivalent of what we were doing. We were just doing some crazy.
But I was thinking, though, dude, I mean, it's like if I don't have that film, they never meet and her child doesn't exist. So Live Evil basically created a baby. I mean,
well, I have cast members that met on our Rocky Horror Picture Show that only met
exactly. So you know what I'm talking about.
So I want them to name their kid after me. I'm like, listen, you met here. I get a cut if that kid turns out to be something.
He comes
William gets the kid like a la Merlin out of Excalibur.
Right. If he becomes the next Elon Musk, I want my billion. So But yeah, it's,
Crazy.
we did some wild stuff back then. We had strippers. I mean, when we say strippers, guys, and porn stars, we weren't having orgies. But these people at that time were transitioning into what they considered to be legit acting gigs, and a lot of it was horror. A lot of the easier, lower budget stuff was easy to get in. So there would be a time where a nerd like me who has no shot at dumb hot chicks, we're literally, Mark can tell you, we're surrounded by them.
Yes, and I had a bunch. Here's the crazy thing, dude. I had a bunch of those girls, like 5 girls: Marley Moore, Cassie Cortland, Jenny Hendricks, Shy Reeves. A lot of these girls now. I mean, don't forget they last like a year, maybe in porn. Now they're all
hilarious.
Like moms. They're all like
they're all
moms and stuff like that, and they're like all real conservative and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, this movie's gonna release again. Yeah, fuck it.
Are you gonna be at the signing? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mom, but this is coming out.
You give them do you give them speaking roles, or are they kind of like just background?
Well, no, I mean a couple of them are just background, but what we were doing, there was an agency, a porn agency called Exotic Star Models in Los Angeles, and one of my investors was kind of starting to slack off. This is when the real estate thing was dying during the end of the Bush era. So to get him excited again, I said I can get some porn chicks in this party scene just to do a topless scene, but we needed one girl to do actress and basically go full nude, like bottom and everything. And one of the girls
listen to this, and they're going to be like, "Damn, William is a what's
going
on?"
I don't think that. I mean, Cassie Cortland is actually a friend of mine on Facebook. I still keep in contact with her. It's not her real name, obviously now, but so she's like, "I'll do it." So she had a little speaking role and this and that. Got butt ass naked, hot as hell. By the way, she still looks great, And it is what it is. So I mean, people do nudity. I mean, what do you want from me?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then Jenny Hendricks comes to your sci-fi center later on, hanging out with you. Hope you got hooked up with that.
No, man.
Hope you got some of that.
I was out of my league.
You primarily shoot out in Vegas.
You know what the funny thing about it is, no matter who came through that place, I knew I was out of my league. I was like, how I would be at the end of all these things and be like, how did any of this happen?
Here's the thing, dude. I mean, I hate to sound like the gossip king, but like I do Google tags. Now, but Mark Terry, Live Evil, Mark Terry, Samurai Priest, and then I would put the different actors in. And I saw some shit pop up on Jenny Hendricks, like where she was going around Vegas, and it would be in those message boards where like dudes were like, "Hey, I hooked up with her at this hotel on Golden Nugget on the Fremont Street, and she did this." It was like one of those kind of things, and she was into some crazy shit. If these message boards were true, I mean, you never know what you're reading on the internet. But
Jenny Hendricks, if you're watching, along with Tony Khan and everybody else, who's probably not watching my show.
Yeah, Tony Khan. Yeah, actually, allegedly, I mean, Tony Khan. Yeah. Hey, I can come to AEW. I am the next CM Punk.
Yeah, up fourth is who's on the thing. No, I have never in my life had an over-the-top afro. Here's the one thing: you can look at any picture, and say if I've known somebody for 20 or 30 years, and every picture that has us, their hair changes colors, their hair changes styles. Sometimes they lose hair, they do whatever.
And William never changes.
I like
you look exactly the same.
Exactly. I change by not changing at all. That I took that line from Pearl Jam. It's on my Facebook description. I am consistent. If you heard me, the way I talk, the vocabulary I use, the way I look, with the exception of the lightning bolt shirt, I look. In fact, Mark, if you ever pull up these pictures and like pull up ones that won't get me arrested, if you ever pull up these pictures, I look exactly the same as I do. I kept the same hair. I keep it short. I live in Vegas. It's hot. And afros, I just don't look good. And afros, and this is an easy haircut. I've never. I am the square that I was back in 06. I'm that same square. I'm the same guy who's never even tasted alcohol. I am the same guy that is just. No,
I'm with you. I mean, I'm the guy who comes into Vegas. I don't drink. I've actually very rarely, out of the 100 times I've been there, I think I've had 2 prostitutes ever walk up to me. Maybe that's because I'm hanging out at the places like the Luxor. I don't know. But
it's Vegas, so it's
it rarely happens to me. So I mean, I'm not much different. I just talk a lot of trash. That's the difference.
No, don't get this twisted, guys. We weren't. It sounds a lot cooler than it actually was. Just imagine me in this environment that we're describing, and understand that it's no way
scandalous.
That cool. Okay, there was nothing
scandalous.
Going on. We did some wild stuff, dude. One of these days, I'm just gonna have a stream, just going back over. We did a live autopsy where the person did the autopsy with an airbrush. So he started out with the chick on the table, and we had the camera right above her. And then as he was dissecting her, he was drawing the body parts on her. And
Really? When was this?
This was right around that time, right around 2009.
But this is before like StreamYard and YouTube and all that.
Yeah, this is before all of that. We would have we're about to do this again. We've done Jack the Ripper live events where we stage in this plaza I'm in right now. We stage all 5 Ripper murders, and we would have guests come in and they would have to determine who did it. And we would have them clues, and we had bodies set up, we had entrails, we had all the body parts. You could find an ear somewhere, in one of the buildings, and we literally, and at the end of the weekend, you had to guess who it was, and then they got prizes and stuff. So we're about to do that.
Wow.
Again. There's some weird stuff.
I just remember the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, I saw Tim Curry. That's why I think about it. I saw him at a Monster Palooza. Man, and I felt so horrible for him. He looked so bad. But hey, time goes on.
We had Doug Bradley out. We had Doug Bradley come out and do live.
I saw him at that convention too. He still looks the same.
Yeah, he still looks the same. But we did some wild stuff. We did Light of the Living Dead, like Rocky Horror.
Yeah, Rocky Horror. That's what I was talking about with what's his name.
Yeah, but we did Night of the Living Dead instead, and we had so when the 2 kids die in the truck and they burn, we paused the movie. And we had a cake that was in the shape of body parts. So we would cut that cake up and give it to the audience while the zombies were eating them in live. And we had gadgets on we would have the soda bottles, pressurized soda bottles with like dried ramen. So when you shot the zombie on the shadow cast of the movie, their heads exploded. And so we were cleaning that stuff off the ceilings, off the walls. We've done some really, and I look back, because you can go back on your memories and stuff people will tag you in and all that. And I look at it from the outside and I'm like, I did that shit.
I know. And you know what I'm thinking about? You're going to laugh at this one time. I was in Vegas and I was going to come see you. I think I was just going to check out the Sci-Fi Center. So back then I stayed at the El Cortez, and I walked from the El Cortez on those back roads all the way down. I think it was Maryland. I don't remember what it was, but I came through the back and then came up, what was it, Sahara. I can't believe, I don't know how far of a walk that is, but my ass hurt because, it's so dry out and my ass cheeks were rubbing together. My ass hurt. I was walking so far. I never had anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
Crazy. El Cortez to the Sci-Fi Center, walking.
Got to bring the
you coming from downtown. Downtown.
That was. I don't think I would do that now, but I could tell you what road it is.
I don't think you would be safe doing that now.
Well, yeah, that east side of whatever it is. Yeah, it's a little rougher now than it was back then.
You're lucky to be talking to us now, because even then it was like, listen, downtown wasn't the beautiful place that they make it out to be now. Downtown is where you went to go get your drugs or to get stabbed, one of the two. And if there was a third option, I don't want to know about it. Now it's all pretty and stuff, and everybody wants to hang out there, Fremont Street, but whatever. I'm from Los Angeles, so the downtown for me is a massive metroplex that just took 100 years to get there. So Vegas is as Vegas was. So yeah, dude, we got to get together. I went 15 minutes over, but yeah, you, me, you have my contact info. When this movie is ready, we need to. I have many more ways to do movies, and I can put you on the show. We there's a whole bunch. I'm working with the guys.
And I'd definitely like to catch up with getting the reviews out there too. And I don't see your screen name. The guy with the iRobot thing is what I think it is. What's your name again?
My name is Stade.
Yeah, screw him.
Okay, but I'm open for
William.
it. I'd like. Well, okay, I got you.
I'm just kidding.
All right, well, cool, man. I don't want to keep you all night, but yeah, I just saw you on. I just happened to come by it, and by the way, I like AEW too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. You're a wrestling geek. I forgot about that.
We
start talking wrestling.
You know who you need to have on here if you could get. I'm still friends with her. Is Kat Waters? She was Winter, and she was Katie Lee Burchill.
Okay.
In WWE, I also had Maria Kanellis in one of my films. Now I know she's a little bit much to deal with in a film in 2011. That's the one that played at Theater 7. So I hired her. I've hired a lot of wrestlers over the years, mostly female, but.
Yeah, I got to show you my belt collection too when you're out here.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'll let you go. Nice talking to everybody, and let's keep in touch. And then I might be out there for maybe either the NFL playoffs or it's going to be dependent on who's playing. Hopefully the Raiders aren't playing, so I can get out there and there's cheaper rooms.
Yeah, Mr. Terry, when you get that, like I said, when you get that shopped out or whatever, when it's officially out, just have William let me know, and I'll review it, and we'll set up getting you on the show and everything.
Yeah, that's cool. And you don't have to call me Mr. Terry. Dr. Terry is fine.
Dr. Terry, Mr. Terry,
no, Mark
whatever.
is good, dude. No, I'm probably a lot older than you guys, but no, Mark is fine. But,
no,
by the
I'm
way, Daniel Martin.
I'm more ancient than I.
Go ahead.
I'm more ancient than I sound. So.
Okay, well, we're probably all the same age, but it's cool, man. I appreciate William, dude. I'm gonna let you go. Nice meeting everybody.
Nice meeting you, man.
Talk with you.
God bless.
See you later, Mike. Wow, that's a blast from the past. And you know what, Fourth, you need to knock this shit off. It's like fanboys meet boogie nights. No, guys, listen, what you got from Mark Terry was brief snippets. There's a whole context that we all did these things in, and it's not the picture you might have in your head right now. It ain't. It's the same guy. It's me.
No, dude. I've got William with a big fro on. I've got William with a big fro on, wearing a daishiki with some ganja.
The same absolute dork that walks around in public in a Shazam shirt is the same guy that he's talking about. So trust me.
Right. Yeah, pull the other one.
There may have been Burt Reynolds of the group.
I'm not going to say that those people that he said weren't there and that we weren't in the same building with them, but that's where the fiction, that's it, strippers, okay,
right.
Porn stars, it's big. Remember, I live in Vegas.
Yeah,
it's Vegas.
Okay, right? William. Okay.
When we have Lloyd Kaufman come out here, it's because he's going to the Adult Video Awards. So there's porn stars. Porn stars in Vegas are literally like leaves on trees, guys. So don't, And like I said, you think that there's women on this? You think the hot porn stars saying, "Wow, let me go get that sleeve stack over there." There's all these other chiseled male porn stars and bodybuilders here. Let me get the lizard-looking guy. Everybody else get out the way. I don't want that guy. No, it's not happening. It's not happening.
Leaves on trees, huh?
It was all
other
professional.
side of William.
No, there's only one side of William. It's the geek side. It's been consistent. Like I said, I'll bring up some of these pictures one day with him.
Daniel Martin says he's just saying that because he's simulcasting on Poindexter Lounge.
No, I'm saying that because it's true. Like I said, it was different before streaming, dude. You people came out, actors and actresses and people of all levels came out to Vegas because you had to come out to some of these things before streaming now. And he's 100% right. They push everything to streaming now, so the interaction is not there like it is now. But when it was, man, it was cool because, like I said, I mean, for every no that these guys got, or if they couldn't afford to rent out a theater, I mean, back then, if you're an independent filmmaker, you pretty much bled out just to get your movie made. So they would either get no, your movie's not the type of movie that we have here, or here's a big $2,000-$3,000 price tag, and we'll have you in. Like I said, people couldn't afford to do that. So that's how they came to my closet. My closet looks a lot more attractive when you got $300 or $400 as opposed to the $3. And a lot of times we would just wing it. We would just say,
exactly,
you know what, it's good. It's good exposure. It's good exposure for us. So we took it. You know what? What okay, you guys listen. What porn stars are like leaves on trees. The Sci-Fi Center must have been it's Vegas. All right? It's Vegas.
Prostitute. Because he lives in Vegas. Oh.
It's hospitality. Hospitality, it's the oldest profession. I mean, just because there's prostitutes here doesn't mean that I'm involved in them. No,
I'm trying to look innocent. Come on.
No, I am. Like I said, trust me.
Innocent as purely driven snow.
Picture what you're saying. These porn stars in the same room as me had better options, and trust me, they were not, like I said, they weren't being like, wow, I'm curious. I'm curious. I wonder what lizard guy is like. No, it just wasn't happening, guys. All right, so we went way, way over. I did not expect to have Mark Terry.
You just don't like being questioned.
Yeah. There's no story, dude. You guys
porn stars are being spoken of.
You guys would be bored to tears with me out here. You guys would be bored. This is the excitement right here. This is the
exactly, Daniel. Hospitality, right, yeah.
Vegas, man. I can't. I'm not going to apologize for where I live. I'm from California. I'll be going back to California when I retire, but I'm
Then
here
why
on
are you
business.
smiling so widely, William?
Because you know what? He does bring up in that era. That era was, like I said, the things, the businesses that we were competing up against, and the theaters that we were competing with had like unlimited, seemingly unlimited budgets, unlimited resources, unlimited everything. I had a projector, an old Barco projector, that I had to keep up and running. That we mounted up to the ceiling. I built the stage. We wired. I mean, we did everything by hand, and it's always been the way that we did it. And when he brings up some of the memories of some of these places that are like long gone. You know, they were supposed to replace us. We were supposed to be like, you know, the laughing stock, while these big, cute, polished places were going to be there forever, and none of them are. I mean, most
Well,
of
it's
the places
because you endure, William, and you know how to survive.
That's pretty much it. Like I said, it's find a way. I
How
always
long have you
use
been there?
Ed Wood. Huh?
How long have you been there?
In business or in this location?
In business.
In business since 1995. So, and I've always used Ed Wood as my guide.
That's a respectable amount of time.
Yeah. I've always used, and I'll close out with this, guys. I use Ed Wood as my guide because he never let not having money or resources stop him from making movies. And when you look at the work that Ed Wood did, that people who did have the budgets, who did have the money, who did have the wherewithal, they were influenced by him, and they went on to make some of the best movies that we all love today. What if Ed Wood didn't make his movies? What if he didn't make Plan 9? What if he didn't make Glenn and Glinda? What if he didn't make any of these, all these movies that he made that were laughing stocks then, were low budget pieces? If he doesn't make those movies because he doesn't have any money, or if he let that stop him, there's a lot of directors that we wouldn't have today. And that's where I always go back to is, there will always be people to outspend you. There will always people to out-resource you, but when the day you're dead in the game is when they can outthink you or they can out-imagine you. Nobody can do that. Nobody. I don't care how many. I don't care if they have $1 billion. I don't care if they have $1 million. Nobody can outthink you. Nobody can push your vision like you can. I don't care what business it is, and that's what keeps you around. Because once it becomes about money, once it becomes about the nickel and diming just about everything. When you start to nickel and dime your vision is done. So that's how I've stayed around, and like I said, I use Ed Wood as my guiding light as far as when I say, I don't have enough money to do this, but I got lefty and righty here, and I got my drill, and I got these nails, and that's how we've done it. So, all right, guys, thank you all. Thanks for Mark for popping in and making me feel old. Thank you, Sage, for being the co-pilot. Fourth 1000 for letting your imagination go wild, and Stella for coming on and thirsting after Henry Cavill.
Of course.
That's it. We went over, so. We will more than likely, depending on how I feel, jump on tonight. Tonight, yeah, it's tonight. To do an open mic where we just won't set the topic. We'll just let you guys take it. So, but with that, my work is done. I have shepherded you from Saturday night into Sunday morning, and we will see you next time around.